Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, Ril Gerald Quinn. On this Wednesday, as we discuss the world of sports and pop culture, we are here for episode 827 of the Real Deal podcast. We're going to go real heavy NBA playoffs. I am joined by one Robert Sapp. Mr. Sapp, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, good to be here as always. I was going to say, I'm the first one where it's not heavy football.
Yeah.
This is basketball.
This is basketball. Yep.
The majority of it.
The NBA is here, and we are near the end of the first round. There are a couple series that should wrap up this evening. Milwaukee and Golden State should take care of business, you would think. You have Miami and Boston already in the conference semis, and Dallas could join them tomorrow. So we're getting there as far as separating the contenders from the pretenders. And the first round is the first round is always entertaining, just from the standpoint that you're excited that the regular season is over, and also that you see a bunch of games, kind of has an NCAA tournament like feel to it. But the conference semifinals is really when the playoffs like start per se, in terms of like who can actually win a championship. Of course, you have some games tonight. Again, Milwaukee will take care of business against Chicago, who is already depleted and didn't have a chance anyway going in. But they now, no Caruso, no Levine. He's in COVID protocols. And, of course, Golden State, Game 5 against Denver, they should handle their business. Before we get to before we lay Brooklyn to rest, with the net eulogy, bringing back something that we had fun with the Wire, and that was themes. And what my theme in terms of the overall playoffs right now is franchise management. We'll revisit that. What are your overall thoughts on the playoffs? Have you enjoyed this up to the playoffs up to this point?
Very much so. I'm having a ball. As a matter of fact, I'm enjoying it so much, I forgot the draft was on Thursday. Last night, as I was watching the game, as the game ends and I'm going through all the different commentary, everything like that, I was like, oh, that's right. The NFL draft is Thursday. And one video, I was like, oh, that's right. No, I'm all the way in. I've completely switched my brain over to football, from football over to basketball. And it's the Brooklyn Nets this is the thing that got me there. Because I've been fascinated with the Brooklyn Nets ever since the 10K. So this has been the thing that I've been following for a variety of different reasons. And so, this was just totally in my wheelhouse. Everything about it.
So let me take you through the timeline.
And the games were fantastic. All the games were fantastic.
No, they're very good. No, it was the closest 4-game sweep in recent memory. It was a very close series from that standpoint. Close, but still.
The Nets, everybody, Nets fans, what are even those? But the people who support the Brooklyn Nets, they didn't have a good time, but the rest of us had a ball with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was great. It was great.
That's why I had the ball.
And I hate the Celtics, but I still couldn't hide my enjoyment of it. I just couldn't. All right, so let's before we really get into this, I'm going to go through a timeline of the Nets from 2020 to 2022 to
everything is getting into this. There is no part. That's what's great about this story. What's great about Brooklyn? There are no parts that aren't essential to the story. No. Every part is essential.
Every part. So let's go. We won't.
Let's go.
I won't get into the bubble. Forget about the bubble. Forget about the bubble. Okay. When
the bubble.
When Durant was hurt. Kyrie didn't play. Forget about that.
I'm here for it all.
They fired Kenny Atkinson.
Go back to the day Kyrie was born. We can go there. We start talking from there.
They fired Kenny Atkinson, hired Steve Nash. Of course, we know Steve Nash was worked with Kevin Durant. He was, sold at Golden State. And then shortly after they hired Steve Nash, you have Kyrie and Kevin Durant basically.
Can we pause just
hold on. Let me hold on.
Okay.
Let me go through this. Shortly after they hired Steve Nash, when I mean they, I mean Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving.
Okay,
hire
good.
Steve Nash.
That's it. That's it. I just want.
Yeah,
Yep. Perfect.
shortly after the day. That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking
Perfect.
about.
Because
Shortly after
somehow
they,
the narrative has somehow forgotten that part.
shortly after they hire Steve Nash, they say they go on the podcast. It was, I believe, it was Kevin Durant's podcast, and it's like basically like, yeah, we know coaching is
Steve Nash
collaborative. I mean,
is
I can coach,
responsible.
Kevin can coach, Kyrie, I can coach. We all coaches, so we really, really don't need a coach. He's just, Steve Nash is just, going to hold the clipboard and say, do the substitutions. So from that point on, Steve Nash had no chance from that point on. Okay, so then we get into the season. And it's not enough to have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and a great, and I mean great supporting cast. They included Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Jared Allen, who was an all-star this year. Not enough to have that. They trade for James Harden, give up a bunch of assets, Jared Allen included, Karis LeVert, all these guys. Dinwiddie, they give up a bunch of assets, draft picks to get James Harden, who had just quit on the Houston Rockets. You go fast forward that, you have then Kyrie. They lose the playoffs last year. James Harden gets hurt, pulls his hamstring. He came into the season out of shape in the strip clubs as his normal, routine. Kyrie Irving also gets hurt during the playoffs. What's new? Kyrie gets hurt a lot in the playoffs and the regular season. Well, I have a stat later on that will.
You don't even have to go. I mean, sorry.
But yeah, we know Kyrie. We know Kyrie.
Because I wanted to go back to Duke, by the way.
So yeah, even back to Duke. Yes, he only played like.
That's why I said every single thing matters. Everything.
No, he is that he barely played at Duke. He played at 10 games like Duke, and still was the number one pick, but didn't hardly play at Duke. Then we have Kyrie.
Play one game.
We have Kyrie refusing to get vaccinated. And James Harden, of course, did not come for, he didn't come to carry the burden without Kyrie. He came to kind of just collect the ring and, be on cruise control. And they trade this league. They trade James Harden. Okay. Trade James Harden, and Ben Simmons never plays. So I say all that to say, there was no way that I give you all those events and all those happenings. There was no way that this, and I'm sure that there were some things that I left out as well, like Kyrie, like the fact that the reason why they got James Harden because Kyrie decided that he was so emotionally distraught by January 6th that he basically took a sabbatical, and during that sabbatical, he happened to celebrate his birthday. You have all those events take place and all those happenings. It perfectly explains why you get swept by the Boston Celtics, and Jason Tatum and a team that was the complete opposite of what the Nets were at this point. A team that actually played together, a team that actually had chemistry, a team that was actually had a real coach, a team that had a coach who held his players accountable, a team that actually was constructed to be a team and had a foundation. Irving during his Brooklyn time has played in 103 games. He's missed 123 games. Okay. And we'll get to the Simmons stuff we'll get to the Simmons stuff a little bit later with this segment. What were your thoughts on, as I read off all those things that happened in the last 2 years to the Brooklyn Nets? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So it's a point, like as you were talking, I'm just like, oh man, this is levels and levels and levels and levels and levels and levels and levels. So it's almost like each one of the things you said is an entire topic for a show. Is an entire topic. As a matter of fact, it can't be skipped over. Like there's literally no shortcut in this entire process. So my entire reaction is use the word there that was very important and used it over and over again. And the word was team. Right? And so like when you break down everything, I'm trying to be holistic with this to not take up like a whole bunch of time. But when you break it down to the actual like fundamental basis of this, it comes down to that word team. What became clear over this series is that the decision makers, however you want to define them, owners, the players, the decision makers, actually believed. Like that's the thing that really, really came to me on game 3 as I watched Kevin Durant be exasperated was I was like, oh, they actually believe that they could do this with just 2 superstars or just like with a superstar heavy team. They were like, they actually believed that. They believed it. And so everything that you name spins out of that fundamental belief. We don't need team. We just need a collection of superstars, 2 or 3, however you want to define it. And that was the fundamental error in their thought process. And so everything that has happened like destroys that. Like, let's just take a microcosm, right? The microcosm is James Harden. Now we got to compartmentalize James Harden. Am I a James Harden fan? No. In this circumstance, does James Harden actually come out looking better? Yes, he does. And I'll tell you why. Because here's what you can't do as a franchise. And this is honestly, this is a sin. Brooklyn should be ejected from sports forever. Like, I'm dead ass serious about this. James Harden, you identify James Harden because your top player says, I need James Harden because Harden's injured. That's, first of all, that's how you identify James Harden, because your player said, I need him. Your top player said, I need him. Okay. How do we get James Harden? We give up a shit ton of assets. Okay. Now we've done that. Now James Harden doesn't want to be here. So how do we get rid of him? We give up more and get back promise. Promise. For a win now team. Brooklyn, literally, you know, I don't curse a lot on this show. What the fuck are you doing as a franchise? Like, literally, what are we even talking about here? So now where I get personally involved in this, and I could not be more serious than this, Brooklyn has to fall. The Sixers have to fall because what they are doing offends sports. It offends sports. The Celtics, I no lie, Toronto or whoever else, I actually don't think, like, I know we talk about on the text chain, it's fun making fun of Sixers right now because they're down. This is not the series that is going to break them. The Sixers. It's the next round.
It might. Slow down.
No, I'm gonna throw that, but I don't honestly, I don't care about it. Like, it'll be embarrassing for them, but this actually is not. Toronto's not playing for the soul of basketball right now. That'll be the next series if they make it. It'll be funny about the Sixers. But this, honestly, this is about the soul of basketball. If Brooklyn would have won the championship last year, this year, wrap. Basketball is unwatchable. I'm dead serious on that. Unwatchable. Now, the Celtics were the right team to beat the Nets because people can now go, that strategy is horrible. Let's never do that again. What the Celtics are doing, I'm already hearing more and more of it, and I love it. Multiple position players that can do multiple things. The part of this that offends me the most about Brooklyn is the complete mismanagement of a franchise. And we've seen franchises being mismanaged. The James Harden thing makes no sense at all. It's insane. 2 is the idea, this fundamental idea in the NBA that all you have to do as a superstar is score. The pale is gone too far. And this is exactly what needed to happen in order for that. So when I was watching the game, also game 3, and I know how hyperbolic this sounds like, but I'll say this over and over again. I'll say this to anybody who talks to me about the Nets. The Celtics were playing for the soul of basketball in this series. They legit were. And they needed to beat the Brooklyn Nets, and they needed to beat them like that. And I'm so glad that it happened this way, because every point that you laid out is 100% correct. And this is not how a franchise can be built. and this is not how a championship team can be built. And they found out that you cannot shortcut this process. To anybody comparing them to any of the big threes, like the ones that actually like for real worked, the Celtics and the Heat, those teams did not cheat the process.
No.
They tried to cheat the process.
Yeah, they tried. No, those teams did. It's not even a
comparison. Harden wasn't part of the plans.
No.
They brought Harden in desperation to lock Kevin Durant up for 5 years.
Yep.
This is not playing checkers. This is worse.
And no, not only they bring in Harden just to lock Kevin Durant up, they brought in Harden because you didn't trust Kyrie. That was the other reason as well. The franchise did not trust Kyrie, who was supposed to be the other half of the big plan. So your plan is already flawed if one half of it you can't trust from the jump, basically.
I don't even think it's about trust, Ril.
No, he was brought in. He was brought in for Kyrie insurance.
Because
I promise you,
you wouldn't pay a guy, and then it's not just pay; it's the constant cake up for him half the year if you didn't trust him. And honestly, what are we even talking about? Franchise day. We're only talking about one person. We're talking about Durant.
Right.
So Durant trusts him implicitly.
Oh, I don't think. No. I completely disagree with you. I don't think. I think.
No. We're not. We're
Durant brought him in.
No, the Celtics series changes everything. We're talking about pre-Celtics series. That's why all that he trust when Kyrie went down. He was fine with Kyrie. He just knew Kyrie was injured. He says to the franchise, "Go get James Harden." That is itself.
No, they got Harden. No, when Kyrie took the sabbatical, then they got James Harden.
Yeah, I know. Look, I know the theme events, and we're saying the same thing. It's all insanity. We're arguing over insane. What's more insane? This is more insane than that's more insane. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And it's all insane.
Well, yeah, the fact that you leave Steph Curry for Kyrie is insane. So that even we.
Well, no, Durant. No. That's why I said nothing matters because we can't even do that. We have to go even deeper than that. Durant left because Durant's feelings were hurt.
Yes.
That's why. It had nothing to do with Steph Curry. The only reason Steph Curry was because it couldn't be his team. That's why.
I agree. No, I agree, but
the reason he left, but everybody, no. People pointing it out like he left Steph Curry. He didn't want to be with Steph Curry. He wanted a championship so people would get off his back.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We got to get deep in this.
Yes. No, I agree. No, yes.
There's nothing to do with Steph Curry. Going to the Golden State Warriors had nothing to do with Steph Curry. Leaving them had nothing to do with Steph Curry. Golden State was
I'm saying he didn't leave because of Steph Curry. Well, no, he left because of what he left because it's kind of do with Steph Curry.
No, it doesn't, bro. Stop. No, it doesn't.
No, it 100 no because it was known as Steph Curry's team. That's why he left. He didn't.
No, he wanted an easier championship. Yeah, and then when he left,
no. He left because despite the fact that he was the best player on that team and won 2 straight finals MVPs and outplayed LeBron James.
Again, we're saying the same thing. He left because
but he didn't want to easy that going to Brooklyn. He did not want to easier. That was not an easier championship going to Brooklyn. So
no, I didn't go back. No, it wasn't. What and then the ultimate thing is that what he thought was he was the next LeBron. He thought he could build a franchise on his own.
Yes. Yep.
Boy, was he mistaken. And he realized that. That's why Game 3 is, to your point, it's the pivot. Like, that's the pivot point in this whole thing. Now, who knows when they go off on vacation together and do their own version of a banana boat or whatever, and they talk, if they make up and all that stuff like that, who knows the offseason? But that was a pivot point on the court for just like Kevin Durant. Like, I watched him that whole game. He realized, I have to do this by myself again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the time, and that's not what he wanted. That's not what he wanted. Sorry, Durant, you can't run away from being the best player in the world. You just can't. If that's who you truly are, everywhere you go, the spotlight's going to find you, and you're going to have to be the one to carry your team. No days off, sir. No days off.
No. So
you don't get to go my turn, your turn. Nope. Now when you're the best player in the world. You don't get to do that.
So this, I'd like to see your point about this need to happen for just the
they had
for basketball. This is, I mean, this is the best thing. This is absolutely the best thing to happen to the NBA because we, you know, we got to a point to where, again, I'm not gonna sit up here and bash the players.
I am. I'm
no,
ready.
No. Hold on. No.
I'm
But
just
talking
saying,
about player
I will.
empowerment. I'm not gonna
When
use
you're
players.
ready.
No.
So
I'm not gonna. Go
line.
about. I'm not gonna be like,
I am.
I'm against player empowerment. But here's the thing:
am.
you gotta be willing. You have to be willing to deal with that smoke. If you're gonna be the general manager, you're gonna pick the coach. You gotta be willing to deal. You gotta be willing to deal with that smoke. And by the way, this players picking coaches, being general managers, this shit will never work. It will never work because the history of the league has told me that this shit is not going to work. That I watched the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls had a hierarchy. They had Reinsdorf. You had Reinsdorf, Krause, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan. The '80s Lakers. You had Jerry Buss, Jerry West, Pat Riley, Magic Johnson. I can go to the Spurs. R.C. Buford, Peter Holt, Greg Popovich. So I can go to the Celtics. Red Auerbach was just that dude. He was just like Red Auerbach. Red Auerbach was the only guy that could get away with coaching. He didn't play, but coaching and being basically, he wasn't the owner, but basically coaching and general manager. But there was still a hierarchy. And Bill Russell was like Bill Russell. So 75 years have told me that this shit, that what you're trying to do, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, is fucking insane. No, you can't. It's hard enough to just to play, prepare, watch film. That's hard enough just to be a player. No, you cannot be a general manager. No, you can't be a coach as well. No, it's going to turn out horribly. And with LeBron, the difference was, here's the difference. There's a couple major differences with LeBron. First of all, Kevin Durant is not as good as LeBron. That's number one. That's the first.
Let's just call that out. Number one.
Let's get that all out there. No. But for the Miami Heat, there was a structure in place. You had Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. Pat Riley said, "No, LeBron, we're not going to fire Eric Spoelstra because you don't like him, and bring in somebody else. Or I'm not coaching. I'm not doing that. I did that once. I'm not doing it again. So you got to deal with it." They won 2 championships. Okay. Even LeBron winning a championship with Cleveland, right? So he goes back to Cleveland. It turns out that, you know what, Ty Lue is a pretty damn good coach. Okay. So it's not like LeBron did not have a coach. And by the way, anybody who knows about that story about the 2016 finals, during halftime of that Game 7, Ty Lue challenged LeBron James. And LeBron got mad, but still, he challenged him, said, "You got to play better if we want to win." Okay. So LeBron had a real coach. And keep this in mind as well. The Eastern Conference at that point in the early 2000s or mid 2000s was just bad. Let's be honest. That's part of LeBron's greatness, but it's also part of the fact that the conference was just not that good. You can't get over. It's too much talent in the league. The league is too deep in terms of talent to, nobody's going to dominate the NBA right now. No one team is going to dominate. It's spread out, and it's close to being NFL like, to be honest with you. Not quite on that level of parity, but close enough. As much parity as we've seen it, So there's no dominant teams. We have a bunch of very, very, very good teams across the league that can win 4 or 5 that can win a championship this year. So no, you're not going to. You have to have depth. You have to have players that actually want to play defense. That's not that's just not going to. You're not going to win with just strictly offensive players, and you're not going to win with players who don't have high. And I'll say this. This is why I love Giannis so much. High character. We talked about that a couple of podcasts. Well, maybe a couple of months ago when we were talking about this, about what are we looking for in players as you not only draft them, but in terms of free agency. Character matters. That's all there is to it. The common denominator, and we'll get more into the Nets and Sixers as a duo. Look at the character. Look at the basketball character of these dudes, of a Kyrie, of James Harden, to a lesser extent Durant, but still he's tossed in there as well. again, with LeBron, going back to the LeBron point about with LeBron with the Heat, like I said, they had a structure, and even LeBron going to the Lakers and winning a championship a couple of years ago, you still had Frank Vogel was a real coach. He's a legitimate NBA coach who had been to the conference finals twice. You know, and Anthony Davis, we got the best of Anthony Davis that we'll probably ever see, and it was in a bubble, but still, that's LeBron. LeBron, and again, that will never be that's not going to be done no more. Those days of super team days are over in terms of success. Now you're going to see they're over. Now you're going to see somebody try to put together a super team because these guys like each other, friends and stuff like that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah, because the net shows it doesn't work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, because the net shows it doesn't work. This is that will be a definitive part of their legacy.
Oh, that's good. No, listen.
Yep,
that is their legacy. That is their legacy. That this should what could have been. That is their legacy.
Not even what I hope people don't talk about what could have been.
Well, that's gonna be part of it.
Yeah, but see that's the trap, right? That's the trap, and that's what I lead to with like they actually believe that this is all they need. Because we don't even have to get that deep into like some of it, like you were rattling off great players, great coaches, great organizations. They win in history. These guys wanted to go another way, and it came out it came out awfully, and what everyone should have expected it to come out with. But the biggest thing, as you were talking about it, was just like it's just that simple. It's just this simple. The reason why you can't do these other things is because you're not trained to do these other things. These are not the things you think about 24/7, right? Like the reason you compartmentalize different positions, no matter what you're doing, whether it's basketball team, teachers, a school or a business, any business, is because you need people who is their entire job, their entire career, their brain power is on this aspect of the business that needs to be attained to. That's why CEOs of companies don't freaking mop the floors and take the telephone calls and then run up and do the accounting and then because you need people who are experts at those different things to do that. So what it then boils down to is let me stop saying they. Let me just say the person I mean.
Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving.
Let me say the person I mean. Kyrie is a different story. Kyrie didn't think boo-boo nothing. Kyrie is just I'm in the mood to keep it all the way real right now. Kyrie's an airhead. If he was a white woman, we'd be calling him a dumb blonde. He's flaky. Honestly, Kyrie doesn't even matter in this equation, to be honest with you. He's just around. Sometimes he wants to play, sometimes he doesn't want to play, sometimes whatever. Anyway, Kevin Durant thought this would be easy. He thought all he had to do was get his boys and they would ball out. Turns out there's a lot more to basketball than that. And someone as basketball intellectual as him should know that. And now that's also a part of that game 3. The last thing that I want to say on the comment that you said, again, we don't even have to get this complicated with this situation. That's what.
Let me give it. You said basketball. No, hold on. Let me get to your point about that. The basketball intellectual part doesn't matter because I saw it.
That's what I'm saying.
As a Laker fan, I saw LeBron pick this.
Yeah, I was going to call you out on that. I was going to say that you was bringing up a lot of Lakers without doing the official Lakers eulogy. Because they part of what ruined the Big Three era as well. That will be this year's legacy. The Lakers in Brooklyn completely decimated the Big Three, like the Big Three era, with their mismanagement. LeBron mismanaged his franchise. Durant mismanaged his franchise.
Let's say LeBron and Durant as a whole. I got some stuff later on.
Yeah. So, anyways, here's where I was. We don't even have to get that complicated with the Brooklyn Nets because it's come out simply. 2 things. One, who wants to play basketball? We just need people that want to play basketball. That's it. And so we don't even have to like But we got to get break down to, do you actually want to play these games? That needs to be the first thing. And then after that, do you want to play all the parts of this game? Right? Because basketball, there's only 5 on the court, so you do have to play offense and defense, right? There are no subs for defense, right? No. Unless I'm wrong.
No.
Right? Kyrie can't sub out for a defensive version of himself, right? So you do have to play defense. And so you can't just care. Here's what can't happen. You can't have a bunch of guys. Sorry, not even a bunch of guys. Your top guys, 2 out of 3, either don't want to play basketball or don't care about playing basketball. And 2 out of 3 definitely don't want to play defense. That can't happen. This is also what can't happen. This goes back to old school football mentality. You can only have so many effing knuckleheads.
That's my point about the character.
When you have your top 3 and 2 out of the top 3 are knuckleheads. Like I was having this conversation at work today. We can go back to infamous 90s Cowboys, right?
Right.
Let's look at their big 3. Irvin, Aikman, Emmett. One was an absolute knucklehead. Absolutely.
Yep.
Talented, everything like that. But you had to wrap around. Yep. You had a bunch of other knuckleheads on that team, but you still had to wrap. You had the unquestioned leaders that were going to model that franchise.
And this was before internet too. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah. Sure. But point being, you only can have so many of those in your team, and you definitely can only have so many of those in the things that move the needle and make it hard to move on from players. If Kyrie had done any of this and he was 6th man in the rotation, oh bye. He long gone. But because he's so talented, when you hit your wagon, as my grandmother used to say, to him, because he's so talented, because he costs so much money, you can't move on from him, even though he's a bona fide knucklehead. Bona fide.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. So they really have no way to go. To be honest with you.
Oh, they
are proverbially fucked because if they were a competently ran organization, the move would be, I'm trading Kyrie and I'll figure out Simmons. But that would be the move. But because you have Kevin Durant,
how about that?
Because you have Kevin Durant running the franchise, Kyrie, not only is Kyrie not going anywhere, he's about to get a supermax contract. Kyrie's going to get his 5 for $245.
Oh, absolutely is.
You'll get that. And you then have Simmons, who is still on the books, whether he plays or not, for 3 for 114.
Yeah.
So that leaves the rest of your salary cap. That leaves the rest of your roster with a bunch of dudes who are either old or are just like the Lakers had, a bunch of guys who are on the scrap meet. You're not, to your point, or to our point earlier, you're not, forget about winning a championship, you're not even going to be in the conversation with a team like that. The East is too hard. You have Milwaukee's not going nowhere. Boston's not going nowhere.
No.
Toronto's
teams with young superstars that are hungry. No, they're not going nowhere at all. As a matter of fact, they look forward to beating your head in.
Yes.
So yeah, nah. Keep going. Sorry.
So Toronto's on the come up. They have young talent that's on the horizon. No, like you are not. Chicago they'll be healthy next year. Lonzo Ball will be back. They have still some nice pieces. So there's no way, similar to the Lakers, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see how I don't see how this gets fixed. I don't.
Here's also the other point, Ril, is when we're talking about experts and who can run and why, everything like that. It's real easy to say, go and get that person when you're the one who's not ponying up $50 million a year for him, right?
Right.
So it's just like, it's just like, that's why as a franchise, you have to be smarter. Damn what Kevin Durant wants. For real. Damn what he wants. Because now you're in a position, you gave him everything you want, and you're worse off than you were before.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they've won.
As a smart franchise. Now the question is Brooklyn a smart franchise?
No.
There you go.
No.
There you go. This is what dumb, desperate ass franchises do. And the fact that the cake up for Durant and Kyrie keeps happening, mask all of the incompetence that is also going on within that organization. And so that's just to your point. They are perpetually effed.
Oh yeah.
They're done.
They're done. No,
they're done.
They're done.
They are done.
Let's get to.
That's also what Kevin Durant realized in that moment.
Yeah, I'm sure it hit. No, it hit him. I'm sure he's thinking about this as in this very minute. I'm sure Kevin Durant is like, yo, how do I get the fuck out? What is the next?
Well, no, he signed 5 years.
He did. No, he did. He did.
But
it's not like he did. But you know,
stay right there. Yeah, you could keep going to the ownership and say, get me this guy. At a certain point in time, they go back, hold on. This is my money. You go get him, Durant. Spend your money. Spend your $50 million a year on him. Things change a little bit. Here's what I guarantee. Kyrie Irving, that huge contract, he's going to sign. You're absolutely right. Sign. That's it. That's when is the next collective bargaining agreement?
Very soon. It's gonna be.
The owners are putting a stop to all of this.
Yeah, the owners. I would not be surprised.
I'm not even mad at them. This is why I'm saying, yo, F this player in power move because it's going too far.
I would not be surprised if there was a lockout.
When you have a player that is sitting down and getting paid, and you don't even know if he's gonna come back, and it's not for injury at all. There's not everything injury. This because he feels sad. And believe me, mental health, I'm not even doing that. I'm just not doing it right now. I'm not doing it because fuck that. Get the fuck on this basketball court. Period. It's just that simple. We're all sad. We all have mental health issues. We still have to go to work every day. Let's stop. I'm not doing this. I'm just not.
I'm glad.
I'm saying that's why when I see something like Kyrie getting paid for not playing, and he's not hurt because of his belief system. When I get and it always being used as an excuse, right? Like religious and everything like that, that's all cool. But then you don't get to use that as an excuse. You don't get to go, oh, I'm fasting, so that's why I play. Like have people no, you don't get to do that.
No.
The choices are your choices, and you should get all the consequences. To your point, the main thing that pisses you off as a fan with Durant and Kyrie, which would make them like when Durant moved to go, it definitively, for me, made him unrootable. I cannot root for him. Period. In the story. There's just no way I can root for him. And this just puts a gold star on that. It's unrootable because you have two players, and this is what we said when this whole thing got together. I remember when we talked about this. How do you have two people who are so sensitive to everything? Meaning, and this is what we mean by sensitivity. They want all the credit, all the glory.
None of the blame.
But none of the blame.
None of the blame.
They want no consequences at all for anything. Anything. And anybody who dares go, why? Is that smart? Then they get angry at them. And Durant
let's stick with Durant for a second, because Durant
tried to use his bully pulpit. I'm zeroing in on Durant.
Twitter,
he tried to use his bully pulpit, using his language, his foul language, and everything like that, and to be like he all hard with his hoodie on and everything like that. I'm over it, Durant. I've been watching that since the effing the end of the Oklahoma City days. Even LeBron changed it back up and was like, you know what, this bad guy thing, that ain't me. Durant, this ain't you. This
No, so
ain't.
no, it's not him. So here's the thing. Here's the way.
You're not hard. You're not tough. Stop.
In particular with Durant. So
You're
Durant,
sensitive. You go home and crying at night. Stop.
Durant
Stop.
gets into it with Charles Barkley, because
Durant always get into it with Charles
Barkley basically called him a bus rider, and he basically criticized his decision for going to Golden State, and says that, hey, Steph was the best player on that team. He says a lot, Barkley basically says a lot of champions who are bus riders, not bus drivers. Now you can agree or disagree with what Barkley said. Of course, Durant responds, yeah, that's neither here nor there.
I know. I'm just
Durant.
I agree with Barkley.
Durant, I don't, but that's not even the point.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I said it. I agree with him.
Durant goes back, posting pictures of Barkley on Twitter when he was with the Houston Rockets and what have you.
Point being, homie, that was the end of Barkley's career.
Yeah, but
all his money.
Yeah, exactly. But no, forget about the actual back and forth. Here's the point. No, here's my overall point.
I'm not even mad about that. They got on him.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, whatever from that standpoint. Here's the overall point about Kevin Durant. Dude, you just got swept. And you didn't play well.
Own that.
Lay low.
How about that?
Lay low. How about How about I don't want to hear from you for the rest of the summer. How about that?
I'm just thinking too much. I'm just thinking too much.
Yeah. How about that?
You know my name. You know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, homie.
And by the way,
you do. Where were you? Game 1, game 2, game 3.
Rob. Here's this will piss me off too. This not even the Durant. It's about Durant.
Know who you are? Sorry.
You know people that no. Hold on. It's about Durant. It's about Durant and his performance. How about the Durant apologies about singing the praises? Hold on. And I love the way the Celtics played. The Celtics played great. They deserved to win. They could win a championship. But let's not make this Celtic defense like the greatest, like the 2000 Ravens, like the Celtics, the Nets in this series, if people want to go look at the stats, and please look at them, they shot 50% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. That's not an all-time great. You think anybody shot 50% against the 2004 Pistons or the 89
and
Pistons?
That's also why the games went blowouts.
Right, exactly. If Claxton makes some free throws, they would have won game 4, and fucking game 1 was right there. The games were right there for the taking for the Nets.
Here's what nobody's saying. The Celtics are so much better than the Nets. Nobody's saying that. Like, the Celtics were just unbelievably better. People are saying it was a bad matchup. And it's a bad matchup because Brooklyn's roster is horribly constructed.
Right.
But nobody's sitting there going, oh my God, the talent gap is so huge between these two teams.
Right.
So that's just more to your point.
I'm like, I don't want to hear these Durant apologists talking about, he's going up against this all-time great defense, and it's a bad matchup. He's fucking Kevin Durant. Do you see? He can score on anybody. He's like he's never been double teamed before, a triple team. What are we talking about here? Like what?
He's been the best player in basketball damn near since best player every time he steps on court damn near since he's touched the ball. He's seen everything. He's seen all 5 people come after him. Stop. You're not doing this. No.
And like I was talking to we were talking to Chad, we knew it was bad when the fact that you only got off 11 shots.
Come on.
11 shots?
You're not doing it.
As a perimeter player, 11 shots?
No.
What?
We've all watched too much basketball.
There's no defense in the world that can stop you from getting shots off.
No.
Like what are we doing?
No.
So that's the annoying part of this series that I have kept the narrative. Well, listen, Boston does have wings. They have great wings, great wing defenders. They do match up well. They won a few teams that can throw a bunch of people at Durant and Kyrie. Agree, we understand that, but not to a point to where Kevin Durant only takes 11 shots in the game, or to a point to hold him to under like 38% from the field. Like, no, there's no defense. The NBA is not even built like that anymore with defense. That's like late 90s, early 2000s. No, the NBA is freedom of movement. It has gotten more physical this year per se, but for the most part, a perimeter player with any type of skill can do what the fuck they want. Period. So like, I, you didn't play well. Shut up. I don't want to hear you. Don't argue it. Don't Twitter and argue with nobody. You just did not. You did not get the job done.
You can't keep Kevin Durant off Twitter arguing with people. You know you can't do that. He argues with whoever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be right.
Yes. When we say whoever, we mean whoever.
Anybody. If you wrote something about him on Twitter,
he will clap back. Yes. That's just who he is.
That's how. No, I'm using my words again and then whatever. But this is what I've always thought about Kevin Durant. He's a mental midget. I've always said that.
Yeah, you've been consistent. Yeah. Yep. Well, the biggest thing about Durant is this is the problem with their franchise. He's not a leader, period. Not a leader. And they don't have
that's what Barkley, that's why I agree with Barkley. That's what he means by bus rider.
You're not a leader, yeah.
There you go.
That's
exactly what he means.
No, and neither is
Kyrie. Alpha male, amongst a group of alpha males, you have to be dominant.
Yes.
Both in personality and play. Kevin Durant only wants to be dominant with play. Yes. And then he just wants to play basketball and get fucking moody.
And one last thing about Kyrie, right? One last thing about Kyrie. I'm tired. I don't want to hear Kyrie Irving's a superstar. He's not.
No,
Stop it. Kyrie Irving is enormously, uberly talented. Yeah. Yes, he's uberly talented offensively. Offensively. Let's keep that in mind. It doesn't guard anybody.
No. Defense is not a thing he cares about.
No. He is a great offensive player and skill. He has great.
Kyrie would be a bomb-ass sixth man of the year. He'd be great.
No. Kyrie would be the greatest playground player of all time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you put Kyrie on Rucker Park.
He'd be out there. He'd be doing some things.
Uncle Drew.
Oh man. It'd be awesome.
But when we talk about superstars, first of all, superstars.
Championship level basketball.
Leadership, intangibles. Giannis is a superstar. I believe Jason Tatum has reached superstar status, to be honest with you.
Yes, he has.
Jokic is a superstar to me.
Yeah.
There's not Steph Curry is a superstar.
Look.
There's not that many.
They're gonna get swept. They're gonna get swept. But here's what no one's gonna be able to say. Jokic didn't.
Well, they didn't. They actually didn't get swept. They won one game.
Say yeah. Oh, that's right.
They won last game.
You're right.
You're right. They're gonna lose in 5, but they're gonna lose in 5.
Look at me. Look at me.
But Jokic is picking up.
You're right. You're so right. I apologize to Jokic and all the Denver organization. How dare I even lump them in the same anywhere near the Brooklyn Nets? I apologize. That is my mistake. I was wrong.
But no, I'm glad you bring up Jokic.
The point is,
there's a difference between
nobody say Jokic didn't do his come to play.
Right. He comes to play every night. And you know what? He actually comes to play basketball. He actually shows up. To play basketball. I want my superstar to actually be available to the game. So that the Kyrie is missing every intangible that a superstar has, he does not have. That's the reason why Boston, the best thing that happened to the Celtics is when he decided to leave. That was one of the best things that ever happened to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Period. Period.
This is why Brown can't stand his ass.
Oh no, yeah. Oh, Brown hates him.
Brown can't stand him.
No, he can't. He hates him.
Tatum's cool with him, but Brown can't stand him.
No, Brown can't stand him. No, and rightfully so. Like,
absolutely.
You throw us under the bus after we went to the conference finals without you.
Now that we have the complete body of work, he was the worst. He was the
problem because they have flourished without him. Like they've literally. I mean, think about this, right? So we look at Boston, right? And sometimes, like, the best moves are the ones you don't make. Like, there was a lot of trade talk about should we break up the Tatum Brown thing? And I'm like, these guys are early 20s and they are going to the playoffs every year and getting relatively far. Like, Brown and Tatum have been in the league, have played together for 4 years. Brown is a year older. He's been in the league for 5. So as together, they go, let's go 2018, they get to the conference finals, lose to LeBron James. That's the year Kyrie was hurt. 2019, when Kyrie came back, they lose in the second round. Coincidence? No. Kyrie checked out and they got destroyed by Milwaukee. 2020, they get to the conference finals and lose to Miami at the bubble. Last year, no Jaylen Brown, and that team was just a bad Celtic team that got smacked by of course, by the Nets.
Yeah, but again, Brooklyn beat them down last year.
Beat them down last year. But again, no Jaylen Brown, and that team was just not. That was Tatum and a bunch of nobodies.
Here's what people aren't realizing, even what you're saying, Ril. The Celtics, they're actually following the process fairly perfectly. Meaning, you're supposed to take the lumps as a young team.
Yeah.
Or as a team building a championship identity, you can't skip those steps.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope.
And so, what you have seen over the past, like somebody did it, like it hit me because even I hadn't thought about this until somebody said it just as a stat. They were like, "Oh, Celtics have been to the conference finals 3 out of the last 4 years." I was like, "That's right. They have."
Yep.
They're a really good franchise. Yep. We're good, like this is actually how you look. They have 2 young. They have a bona fide superstar, another virgin one right there, and a well-paid and coach, like all the things, and they've been to 3 to 4 finals. They're ascending.
Yes. Yep.
And they've done it under the radar as well with homegrown talent.
Yep.
This is what Golden State was before the cancer that is known as Kevin Durant. And you want to talk about something that's the best thing that probably happened? Kevin Durant leaving Golden State. Because now they've had a chance to reboot their identity again.
Yep. Yeah.
They would have been able to do that with Kevin Durant there.
No.
He sucks the soul out of your franchise. He does. Everything becomes about him and his wants, his wishes. As you know, you're living at, it's the same thing with LeBron.
Yep.
He did it to the Lakers. If there's any franchise in the NBA you should not have been, the 2 franchises you should not be able to overcome as an individual player are the Lakers and the Celtics, right? The organizational weight of those 2 franchises should outshine any player. And still, everybody had to bend to LeBron. It's the same thing with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. The reason why and here's where I side with the players. From a standpoint, the reason why they're able to take over these franchises because they're horrible. Horrible. We were horrible before LeBron got there, and Brooklyn hadn't had much success before Kevin Durant got there. I know they had built up the team, but I would say our situation is worse because Brooklyn actually was building something before Durant got there, but the only way they could have got Durant and Irving was to cater to them. But our franchise was horrible. These players who, and it's only a handful of them who have this kind of power, they take over these terrible franchises. Because you saw, Pat Riley, Pat Riley was like, okay, LeBron, you gonna leave? That's, okay. You got, we want to keep you, but you're not going to run us. Like Pat Riley wasn't having that shit with LeBron. Like, you're not running this franchise. I run this franchise.
Real players go do what players do. Absolutely. Absolutely. As the individual player, you want all the money, all the power. Of course. Absolutely. Of course you want that. It then becomes on management, owners to chill that out. Because it's your friend. You own the damn thing. You cannot mortgage the short term for the long-term health of your franchise. Good franchises know that.
Yep. The smart ones do know yet.
They just know it. No matter, like I've been saying it in football as we've been talking. We as fans, we can be as fickle as we want to be.
Yeah.
As fickle as we want to be. Fire them now, love them now, or whatever. Doesn't even matter. Because we have no actual equity in the game, right? So we can say whatever the hell we want. But as someone who actually has the ability to manage the different pieces of the franchise, you have to be measured. You have to be. And that is what you are waiting to see. We're talking about Brooklyn, so I'll leave your guys, I'll leave your franchise out of it. Yeah, y'all dead in the water as well.
Oh no, we're
Yeah,
finished. We're worse than Brooklyn
as well. But
yeah,
I'm gonna let
we're
that.
bad. No, we're
We
horrible.
focus on Brooklyn. So, like in that term, they mortgage.
But here's the difference. At least
They
we
mortgage the long term.
here's the
That's the
difference between us and
franchise for
Brooklyn though.
short term, and the short term didn't even
Yeah, but here's the no. Actually, let me take that
bring
back.
anything.
Brooklyn's worse than us because at least we got a
Yeah,
championship
y'all
out of it.
both bad. Yeah, yep. I was
These,
going to push back on that, but okay, yeah, I agree with you.
At least we got a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
you know they actually were they have gotten one playoff series win. One.
I do think this is also going to make people reevaluate that thought process of a championship. Doing anything for one championship means all the things in the world. I think people are going to reevaluate that thought process.
Hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought because I'm going to bring up about we're gonna get on the franchise management the piece a little bit later.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about some teams that actually will be remaining. Milwaukee, basically, again, that game is a 20-point game at halftime. That's a wrap. So let's just fast forward to the conference semi.
I love Chicago. They just got hit with injuries.
Yeah, Chicago had a good year.
Just take that L. You take that L. It just happens. That's what happens. That's why championship windows are so short, man. You never know. You just never know.
You never know. Nope. Boston, Milwaukee. This is a just tantalizing series where you have one team who has been the best team in the NBA basically since January.
Yep.
You have another team that has the best player in the world.
They're the defending world champions.
They know how to defend the world champions. Know how to win.
They're the defending world champions.
Come in a little banged up with no Milton. What are some of your thoughts of this series that's going to happen?
The reason now I've spent the time shitting on Brooklyn. Let me say the reason why I enjoyed that series so much was, of course, Brooklyn losing, but also the games were so competitive because each team did not want to be embarrassed by the other team.
Right.
And you felt that the whole way. So I say that to say it was nice old school basketball in that way in the first round, just a sense of desperation. We're going to fight and claw all these minutes. With that being said, this will be another level of that. It won't be about embarrassment. This will truly be about who is better. Who is better? Are the Celtics ready to take that next step?
Yep.
It's that simple. Are they ready to take that next step? And how great can Giannis be? I mean, it boils down to that. And this is old school basketball because what excites you the most as a basketball fan, at least me, is the idea that at significant points during the game, especially meaningful points, you're going to have Tatum and Giannis one-on-one with each other, offensively and defensively.
Yep.
Come on now. That's basketball. That's sports. And that's why I say, like, going back to Brooklyn, now I have to go back to this. Because the other thing that's offensive and won't be offensive about this series is the idea of that everybody on both of these teams have a singular goal in mind. And that goal has nothing to do with the outside world. That goal is simply about winning a championship. Because when I strip everything away, all the different arguments about all these different things, what sports is about competition. Best on best. That's what we want to see. We all have our rooting interests. We all have everything. But the way that these guys enter my life and the way I enter their life is I'm a paying fan for some of the different things that puts money in their pocket. So that's how they appreciate me. They don't give a shit about me one way or the other. If I live or die tomorrow, it doesn't care. They don't care about that. How they enter my life is you are there to entertain me. Period. I don't know any of them. They will mean nothing to my family. I'll mean nothing to their families. The way they come into my life is entertainment. And so what I want to see as a fan is I want to see best on best. I want to see competition. And that's what this series is going to deliver in spades.
I love this series from a standpoint. First of all, I think, and I said this time last year when Brooklyn played Milwaukee, I thought that the winner of that series was going to win the championship, and it turned out I was right. I feel the same way about this series.
Absolutely.
I think this is the de facto NBA championship. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Phoenix. We'll talk about them later. They're banged up. Chris Paul is playing not so much too many minutes, but he's having to work too hard this early in the playoffs. Don't like that for the even though Booker possibly can come back in Game 6. Phoenix, I'm not in love with Phoenix right now, to be perfectly honest with you. Both these teams match up perfectly against Golden State, and I love how Golden State is playing. But both of these teams match up great against Golden State, and I'm not high on Miami at all. I'm not a Miami. I think Miami caught a break in terms of playing Atlanta, and they're going to catch another break in terms of where they play either Toronto or Philadelphia. It doesn't matter. So Miami basically will have a cakewalk to the conference finals. These are the two best teams right now in basketball to me. Right now, when Devin Booker got hurt, that made these two teams the best two teams in basketball, in my opinion. As good as Boston's defense is, it will not be able to defend Giannis like they defended Kevin Durant. Giannis is the best player in basketball, and it's frankly not even close.
Well, guess what? This is why coaching matters, right?
Yes.
Of course you can't defend Giannis like Durant.
Yeah. So Giannis,
this is what makes this a great series.
I'm watching Giannis right now. The game is actually slowing down. He is posting up. You're talking about a guy that does not really care about scoring so much. He scores because he's just that talented. He gets 30 easily. It's his passing. He's finding these shooters, like hitting them with like pinpoint corner passes, and they have a bunch of shooters. So they actually, like, Boston feast on teams that go like a Brooklyn that goes one-on-one isolation. They feast on that. Milwaukee's not that. Now, yeah, Middleton, when he gets back, can be a one-on-one player. Holiday can do a little one-on-one, but most of their stuff is ball movement, man movement. They're trying to get Giannis. Giannis is getting in the lane and finding open shooters. So they actually run a NBA offense. They actually have a structured offense that creates open shots. They actually run a professional offense. It's not just give it to one man and you go do your thing, Kyrie. You go do your thing, Kevin Durant. So and even with that being said, like I said earlier, Brooklyn still shot over 50% from the field and 40% from the three-point line, despite Durant and Kyrie Irving struggling. The Brooklyn role players actually played great, to be honest with you. They should be upset the way at Kyrie and Durant, because they played great for the most part.
As bus riders, they did their part.
They did their part. Bruce, yes. They
drivers were the one driving them off the cliff all the time.
Right.
Ramming in the trees. Like, what are you doing?
So to me, this series comes down to
or not even being able to start the bus. Like, what?
Right. Yeah.
We're all here, homie. Why don't you put some gas in this thing? That was your one and only job.
Yeah. You had one job. So to me, the series comes down to obviously the health of Milton, how quickly he could come back, and are we just watching Giannis, or are we in the Giannis era to where they have Giannis and nobody else does? That's the question. We'll find out about that this year. To where is he that much better than everybody else? Because he is just, like I said, the game is absolutely slowing down for him. The game is slowing down, and that's scary. Scary. He's only 20. He's 27. He's only.
Giannis is certified. Now we're trying to see if Tatum can get to that level.
Yes. Can Tatum get to that level? Yes. Can Tatum get to that level? Yep. Can Tatum get to that level? So, this will be, like I said, this will be I feel like a knockdown, drag out classic series, and I really believe in my heart of hearts that the winner of this series is going to win the NBA championship. You can hold me to that. You can hold me to that take. That's not a hot take. I genuinely believe that.
No, it's not. It's not a hot take at all. It's not a hot take at all.
Let's take a look back. Let's revisit the summer of 2019 No, the Sixers Nets trade and also 2019 because I found something interesting when I just thinking about how things have gone for these player constructed teams. Um, Now again, Sixers Nets, we did a lot of that, but this is going to be a trade that everybody loses. Like we did a lot of Nets piece. The Sixers have been what the Sixers have done in this series, how they played in the series have been nothing short of just embarrassing. They are they are on the cusp of going to game 7 to a Toronto team, number one, that they have more talent than. Number two, lost their third best player for 2 games in Scotty Barnes. Also had their all-star point guard, Fred Van Fleet didn't even play last game. And again, I'm telling you, Rob, when they won that, to allow a team to come into your gym in a closeout game and just embarrass you, I I'm like, no, like this is we've seen this movie before with Doc Rivers. Like it has all the makings of a historic collapse. And of course it would be because they were up 3 games to nothing. I'm looking at the Sixers. I'm like, it's like I said, as bad as the Nets were, and it crashed. This Sixers thing might even be worse because remember when we did the podcast a couple of months ago when the trade first happened, we all were consistent with our thoughts in terms of yes, Brooklyn will be better off in the long term, but this year the Sixers probably have a better chance to win a championship.
I definitely championship.
Not but to go further, not to win.
I said it would look nice early on because it would flow better and that the pain would come in the playoffs. And here it comes.
And the pain has come in the case of, not surprising, James Harden. James Harden in these playoffs, in 5 games, James Harden is averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and shooting a paltry 37% from the field. Are we surprised? Are we surprised by this?
I feel so validated as a I think I've said this. I feel so validated as a basketball fan this year because the way things are going, it had me feeling like I was crazy. The Lakers, the Harden, wherever he is, the Nets. It's just like I'm looking at these things happen. I'm like, this can't work. But everybody's acting like it can. Am I crazy? And I've been so validated in all of this. Here's my one piece of advice for NBA franchises that they will never, ever take. But they should. When these players show you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
Believe them.
Yes.
Harden will be Harden. But I was trying to remember the game with my coworker at work. The game that when I was officially done with Harden was it him and the Spurs? Was that the one?
It was game 6. Yeah,
right,
Kawhi was out. Kawhi was hurt.
There you go. That and that's why I got to. So I'm glad I was right. Yeah, Clay 6 closeout game. This was Spurs. Who was out? Everybody was out on the other side. Kawhi was out. Everybody was out. Yeah, they didn't have Paul, but they had Harden. Harden all at home.
Yes.
Closed them out. Their top superstars out. Disappear.
Yes.
Just disappear.
Yes.
From that moment, I said, I'm done with him.
Yep.
He said exactly who he is. So, the Sixers and Ril, what was my text to you before the playoffs even start? What did I say?
Oh, you had Toronto winning. Yeah, you did pick Toronto. You picked Toronto.
And who do I have going out?
Sixers. Yep, you did.
And the Nets.
To your credit, you picked it. I'm telling you, I feel very confident that they're going to be on the cusp of.
No, it would. I mean, like this will be hilarious. It'll be hilarious. It will be fitting, and I am, of course, personally rooting for it.
I'm rooting for Toronto. Yeah, I'm rooting for Toronto. First of all, I like how Toronto plays anyway. I like it. They play hard. They move. They play hard. I like the coach and they play hard. So I like how they play anyway.
But point being, Toronto means nothing to me at all. They're not going anywhere at any time.
No, I'm saying I like how they play.
But yes, comparatively so to
anybody. No, they play hard in general, not just compared to the Sixers.
No, I'm saying the dregs of what we're talking about is the dregs of NBA competitiveness. Talent versus what you actually output, right?
Right.
And it's like it's like, again, since we're focusing specifically on James Harden, people will focus on the positive of his games and really, really downplay how glaring the negatives are.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, you honestly, you just disacknowledge what reality is. And so what is the big thing? Where does all this anger and this hate for these players come? It's when expectations don't match reality.
Yep.
And that's what's happening so much. And that honestly, that's freaking Harden's career since he left Oklahoma City. There have been expectations of him that he just cannot match as a player. He just can't. Harden should be the third best player on your team. It's just that simple. He shouldn't be number one. He shouldn't be number two. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's keep it all the way real now. Let's stop these games.
Yeah.
They're showing us who they are. And we keep wanting
he's no longer that franchise MVP caliber. Those days are gone.
He never was, bro. He never was.
Right. But there was a time when he was finishing top 2 in MVP where he was legitimately like a top 6 or 7, 5 player. He was for a 3 or 4 year period. He was. But I know your point. But he's not even like he's not even a stat stuffer anymore. Yeah. He's not even stuffing stats no more. That's what I'm saying.
Not now. Yeah, now he's just real.
He is a we're harder than right now. He is a barely above average rotation player right now. If you took off the uniform and took the name Harden off and you just watched him play, you'd be like, oh, that dude, he all right. He just an average, he just nice passer, gets to the line a little bit, but he ain't no star. Like he's a slightly above average rotation player. Like seriously, he's not like those numbers. I mean, forget about those numbers. Those numbers are decent numbers, and those numbers will get you a nice contract. But like you look at his impact, he doesn't impact the games. He does not impact the games. You forget that he was even out on the floor in some of these games.
But remember, Morey's a genius. Remember?
Oh yeah, of course. Who, by the way, similar to Kyrie, is going to give him a supermax contract, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're a fan of a team in the Eastern Conference, right? If you're not a Brooklyn or Sixers fan, you can just cross out the Nets and Sixers for the next 5 years. Just cross them out. Just dismiss them. They will be non-factors. And let me get on Embiid for a second, because we can bash Harden for 10 podcasts, and deservedly so. You can't get on here and bitch and moan to the press about MVP this, MVP that, and then, as usual, get hurt in the playoffs and come up small the last 2 games and not close out a team. If you're the MVP, you close the fucking Raptors out the game in Game 5 at home. That's why you're not the MVP. I got so tired of hearing from him the last 2 weeks. The writers don't like me. I don't see how I'm not the MVP. Shut the fuck up. You haven't gotten past the second round of a playoff series in your life. And I love his game. Like to watch him play basketball. He had a great year this year.
It's fine. I love the Olajuwon's game. Don't give me effing Embiid.
No, he's not. He's not Olajuwon.
His game is fine.
No, I recognize the skill set that he had. I respect the skill set.
But in the NBA, you're supposed to be skilled. What are we doing? We're talking about people who play hard and who can freaking put the basketball in the hoop.
I'm saying, but for his size,
all these things should just be based by
my point is, for his size, he has, as a center, he has exceptional skills.
Sure. Evolution.
No, my point, but getting to my point about character, he's been a clown. He's been a clown who can't stay healthy. You can't stay healthy.
That's always been my
you can't stay healthy
with Embiid. I can't even, and Davis to that point.
Both of y'all, they're both in the same boat. Yeah, they're literally both in the same boat.
I can't, what are we even talking about here? If you're if you're around doing when we get to the championship round, maybe, but you can't count on that.
No.
Everybody's high on Paul too. That's my main complaint with Paul as well.
Rightfully so. Right, part of being an all-time great, you gotta be on the floor.
Thank you.
You gotta be on the floor.
Thank you. It's kind of simple. It really is.
It's very simple. So like you can't sit up here and like I said, bitch and moan about MVP this, MVP that, and not close out the Toronto Raptors at home in a game 5. You can't. Like, I'm sorry, you can't do it. Like I don't, or game 4 for that matter, because you were up 3-0. You had 2 chances to close them out, and you came up small in both games. That's not MVP. Giannis, Jokic, if they were in that position, they're closing them out. Sorry, they're closing them out. Giannis is closing them out in that position. Period. Steph Curry in that tonight will close out Denver. Period. They're gonna close them out. So, in 2019, right? You had the Clippers make their move. You had not superstars because Paul George is not a superstar, but you had Kawhi and Paul George team up. So you had that go on. You had Kyrie, Durant, Anthony Davis, LeBron. So we fast forward 3 years later.
Yep.
And
where's Kawhi?
Where's Kawhi? Yes. Where's Kawhi?
Where's Kawhi? Where are these people? Where are they?
Yes. Yes. It's interesting because these last the last 3 I won't even say the Clippers were a super team. They were not a super team, but these last couple of superstar of these all-star pairings have gone miserably for these teams. In Brooklyn, we're gonna see it fall apart with the Sixers and the Clippers. I mean, this was year 3, and what do they have to show for it? They've made 1 conference finals. They had a collapse. They lost a 3-1 lead. So in 2019, excuse me, 2020, they lose a 3-1 lead, all right, to Denver. Last year they get the conference finals without Kawhi. Ty Lue did a great job to get them that far, to win as far as they was going to go from that standpoint. But again, Kawhi gets hurt this year, Kawhi doesn't play, and they don't even make the playoffs this year. They lose in the play-in to the Pelicans. So you're Steve Ballmer. You paid all this money for this franchise. You allow Kawhi to do everything. Similar to Durant, Kawhi has the same type power. He's dictating the private jets, dictating practice schedules, all that. Kawhi runs the show.
Yeah.
He doesn't coach because we know Ty Lue coaches, but everything else Kawhi does. And what do you have to show for it? What you had to show for it?
It comes down to what are we valuing, right? Like, what are we valuing? Are we valuing the drama and the conversation? Are we valuing the stat stuffing conversation throughout the year, or are we building towards something? And that's what the owners are going to have to take a very hard look in this next agreement, because this trend of paying people who don't even play doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know how it can make sense to anybody, to be honest with you. So if I'm somebody that has my money on the line, no matter how much money I have, if I'm somebody that has my money on the line and you ask me, do you want to pay so-and-so for the possibility that they might play? My answer is no. I don't want to do that. I'm good. And the dynamics of the NBA right now are set, how they are set. So that's why Kyrie's going to get his and everything like that. But as soon as the opportunity to change that comes, it comes, because everything that you name, Ril, it'll be one thing if these players brought you championships. But for all this drama, for all these different things,
you have nothing.
And again, damn all of that. Let's
nothing.
just talk about like dollars and cents. Spending money for people that are not going to produce doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, I'm glad you brought that. Think about this from a business standpoint, right? So the majority of these franchises, they make their money like with the they make a lot of most of their money in terms of like obviously the home games, but they really rack up during the playoff time with the playoff home games. Okay. So the Lakers, no playoff home games this year, not even a playing game. the Clippers playing game is not the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs. So not only am I paying you not to play, I'm actually not getting the bang for my buck from a business standpoint.
That's when you know something's gone too far, because this legitimately doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yep.
It doesn't even make sense. So it's like, yeah.
And like Brooklyn,
like that, you remember that there was a period in baseball when the salaries were escalating organizationally wide, and then it became like, wait, you got the highest paid salary in the league, salary cap. I don't know what they got. I forget what they call it in baseball then. But you have the highest there in the league, and yet your team is performing the worst. Like those two things don't make sense. And in this case, it's like, wait, you can be one of the highest paid players, yet you barely play. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense financially. And at the end of the day, when we strip everything down, all this stuff, the whole thing about professional sports is to make money. It is just that simple.
Bottom line. The bottom line.
So we can put all these other issues and everything like that, and people will talk about it. But then once they get and look at those hard numbers and see money going out and nothing coming back to them, that's when it becomes problematic. And everybody's not the Knicks. Believe me.
No,
there's so many fans that is a very unique circumstance. Even your team, the Commanders, those are unique circumstances with
well, the NFL, everybody makes money because it's the NFL. Like,
no. I'm not even getting to dynamic. Here's what I'm talking about. Those are situations with entrenched fan bases, entrenched ways of a built-in, like in Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden is the draw, and so they can continue to make money off of that, whether basketball is being played or not. That's what I mean. The Commanders, all these different things. So my point being, it's like those type of franchises. The Nets. First of all, who is the Nets owner? Second of all, basically, what I'm trying to say, not old money, not money that is infinite, as we would say. And so when they look at those dollars and cents and don't see the production, a lot of these owners are not going to be satisfied with
that. Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the Clippers. We know Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer is one of the richest men in the world, but he didn't become that by losing money.
None of them do.
So Steve Ballmer's going to look at these last 3 years and like, yo, like to your point, what the fuck am I paying for? Like what
am I paying for?
Like for real, what am I paying for? So I'm a bit like, I know the friend, like I'm a billionaire 50 times over, but considering the money that I'm paying, we have three playoff series wins and no conference. We have one conference finals appearance. No NBA. Not only forget about no NBA titles, no appearances to the NBA finals, and I got a player who I don't even know that I can trust, who I can't even trust physically moving forward.
Sorry to bring your team back up in this, but it's just like, because I think about it, and it's just like, there's a way in which a lot of these owners, and I think about like New York especially, a lot of these owners feel like nothing can impact their bottom line, right? Like in certain things. But then you look at a historical franchise like LA, and like I hear so many fans, of course it's not going to affect anything immediately. But you put 2 or 3 seasons like this together again, and I heard so many fans, here's what I mean. I heard so many fans of the Lakers say this was a miserable season.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we've all our franchise. Of course we've had losing seasons, right? Of course.
No, this one beyond.
And you go through your regular rigmarole. You complain about the same thing, blah blah, all the different stuff.
This was the worst. This was the worst.
But here's what I'm saying. That doesn't make you not want to be a fan of that team anymore. You just like, okay, next year. We all know it.
Right.
But what happened this year?
No,
Starts to make you question things. I've heard that. So I'm saying, it's not to pick on the Lakers. The point being,
pick on the
if
Lakers.
teams continue in this trend, certain franchises that feel like they have an entrenched base can start to feel the sting because people just don't want to see that garbage.
No.
What was put on the floor for LA and Brooklyn, hot ass garbage.
Yep.
Just garbage.
Yep.
What is this? What is this thing? You got coaches with like 300 starting lineups. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yep.
What is even happening? You know, my joke of your team, they were always working on some shit. Always. Always. Like, what? I need y'all just to play basketball in this game. Stop working on your practice plays during the game.
All right, we got a couple of game sixes tomorrow. We talked about extensively about Philadelphia, Toronto. What are your thoughts on Phoenix, New Orleans?
I wholly expect Phoenix to come out of this series.
Right. What about game 6?
To be honest with you, I hadn't really dove that deep into game 6 specifically because I'm just like Phoenix is coming out of the series. So all right, I think series like this honestly are more about a young team's development because Phoenix just wants to get to the championship again. That's where they want to be.
Right.
Or that's envisioned, like that's just where they are. Like these games just need to happen and get out the way for them. But this is about New Orleans advancement. I think this is I'm going bigger picture stuff. I think this is such an indictment on Zion Williamson and his future with the franchise.
How about the fact that during like warm-ups he's out there like shooting and like
this is why the owners got put
like
stop.
Yo, I was a fan. That would drive me. I'm like, yo,
because people who don't even deserve to have these type of feelings and this type of power get it, and they have to put a stop to this shit. Like you've done nothing, Zion, nothing at all. Get your ass out there and play. And if you're not playing, rehab. That's all we want to see of you. When you're on the court, in the suit, you're clapping for your teammates. Period.
I don't want to see you playing basketball before the game.
At all. Not even a little bit. And that's what I'm saying. Like this has to stop. All this has to stop.
It's like that shit is wild to me. I'm like, you up here posting dunks on Instagram. Like, really?
Yeah. Look, James Harden don't do shit. He come in fat every year, and he gets hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? That's it. Like it's joking, but honestly, like literally, think about this, Ril. You had James Harden look at Kyrie and say, that brother's too lazy." I was about to use the N-word. So I know. Yeah. that brother's too lazy. You know, I can't win here. Like you had James Harden saying this about. That's how you know this is getting out of control. And so when you have other people who are doing less and getting paid more, why, as a young talented player, do you want to work hard? Why? He's not working hard and he's getting hundreds of millions of dollars on top of hundreds of millions of dollars. Why am I busting my ass? And then we get back to your point of character. That's where character comes in. Yeah. But as a whole for the NBA, that's individual people have that character. As a whole for the NBA, they need to put a stop to this, period.
No, for real.
Because it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, seriously, they need it. I could foresee a lockout. I would not be surprised.
You don't play, homie, you don't get paid. Period.
Yeah, no.
I don't give a shit why your beliefs, your religion, you don't play, you don't get paid.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not that simple.
No. And I don't want to. By the way, I don't want to hear people say, "Well, the season is too many games." Like,
nope. We're not doing that.
Nope.
These brothers are more pampered and nope. We're not doing that. They fine. They're fine. We went through that crying with the back-to-back games and all that stuff.
Well, they've already. I mean, they've already.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. We've done this before.
Yeah, they've already cut down on back-to-backs.
Yeah, I know. We've done this, but we're not doing it anymore. They're done. The season's fine. You can play all them games. Stop.
Yeah. Bringing back from our NFL days, biggest disappointments. We already talked Kevin Durant, Sixers, Jokic critics. So
actually, we talked Kevin Durant, but have we talked Kevin Durant?
No, no. I actually want to say no.
Like, I want to ask you real for real. What do you think happened to Kevin Durant during those first three games, especially? From all your years watching basketball, what happened to him? We had all the theories on LeBron when he disappeared. What are our theories on Kevin Durant? What happened?
I think that, a couple of things. Because I thought about some series where he struggled, per se, and it hasn't been. I looked this up. It really hasn't been that many. Like he's
very good at putting the ball in the bucket.
No, he's literally been one of the most consistent playoff players.
He's very good. Nobody.
I mean, even series where his shooting percentages were low, the numbers were still like insane. And so there was a series, he had a couple series against his rookie year, not rookie year, but his first playoffs against the Lakers, where they end up taking us to 6 games the year the last Kobe championship, 2010. He was like 25, and he averaged like 25, but shot like 35%. But he had fucking Ron Artest guarding him. So, and then Tony Allen, the Memphis series where they lost when Westbrook got hurt. When Westbrook was hurt that year, they lost 4-1. It's Tony Allen. They were physical. So I think this was a perfect storm of physicality. Udoka knows Durant. He used to coach with the Spurs. They had all those battles with OKC in the 2010s. OKC and the Spurs seemingly played every year in the playoffs. So he knew they knew him. Udoka knew him very well, and I think it was that. And I think that I said this too. No, this was the thing too. I just think that I really think that the toll of the season, everything we talked about, all the bullshit, the Harden shit, the Kyrie Irving shit, caught up to Kevin Durant in the playoffs. I think if you look at his the last couple of weeks, basically the Nets were playing for the playoffs the last three or 4 weeks of the season, last 3 weeks in particular. They were in playoff mode because they had to win games just to get in the play-in. So he's playing 40 minutes a game easy.
I could not agree with this point more.
Easy. He was fucking worn down mentally and physically. Now, by the way, not a fucking excuse. You're a superstar. You're Kevin Durant. But I know. And here's the one thing. I mean, this is a physical difference between him and LeBron. LeBron is 6'9", 280 pounds. Kevin Durant, 7 foot, 240 at most. So he physically cannot take that pounding like that. And again, the mental toll, he's coming off an injury, the MCL injury he came off. Last year, he had to carry the team in the playoffs when Kyrie got hurt, James Harden got hurt. So this really was like a culmination of 2 years per se, where he's literally in the playoffs had to carry their team. And I think the shit just caught and ran into the wrong opponent. A hungry team that Tatum wants Kevin Durant's spot. Make no mistake about it. Tatum is a beast. He wants to be known as one of the best players in the league. He wants Kevin how we talk about Durant, that's what Tatum wants. I guarantee you, Tatum came into the series with the mindset, I'm coming after Kevin Durant. I'm coming for you. I'm coming. So,
well, to your point, you can't be that dude if you don't have that mindset. You just can't.
Right. No, right. Exactly. So when you take all that into account, I just think that it was just too much to bear. I think physically he just didn't have it. Now again, no excuse, but I just think everything. This is it's not just this year. This is last year as well. He carried the team in the playoffs. They had injuries. Well, not so much injuries in the regular season last year, but they do the trade last year. They played well last year in the regular season per se. It wasn't like this season. No, nowhere close. But Harden gets hurt like the first play of against Milwaukee. So he was basically done for that series. Even though he came back, he was on one leg. He wasn't, he was a non-factor. And then Kyrie gets hurt after in game 3. He doesn't play the last 3 games of the series. So it literally everything was literally on Kevin Durant. Everything was literally on him, and he almost came on, almost took Milwaukee out single-handedly. But then this year, you think that you're coming in, you think if you're Kevin Durant, I'm thinking like, yo, so last year we had injuries, we're coming back this year, we're gonna get this chip, and then Kyrie doesn't get vaccinated, and then James Harden quits on the team. So it's like, okay, and then he gets hurt, and then it's like, what are we doing? And then one injury that people didn't talk about a lot, that also put more pressure on him. Joe Harris, like that's just another scorer. That's a guy who's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. So it was too much for him to bear. And bringing back to my point about the franchise management, right? You have to construct your franchise. You have to have depth over the course of a regular season. The ideal, so see, Kevin Durant and LeBron James are at a place in their career.
They believed it. They absolutely believed it.
Kevin Durant and LeBron. Here's the bottom line about Kevin Durant and LeBron James. I'm gonna dip into my deep dive early with LeBron and Kevin Durant. They're at places in their career. Kevin Durant is not a young pup. He's 33 years old. He's going to be 34 in September. This will be
year. Doing this for a while.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a minute. Came into the league at age like 19. Okay, after 1 year.
See how the Super Hot Sonics were still a franchise when he came.
Yes, literally, yes, they were. Yes. Mm-hmm. So this was year 15. Next year will be year 16. He can know you ideally around Kevin Durant or LeBron James. You need to have a deep enough team to where you allow them to cruise in the regular season and amp up for the playoffs. Kevin Durant and LeBron James both played this year over 37 minutes a game. It's not a fucking coincidence that they both had injuries over the course of the year. Not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence.
I really hope they reflect on their roster construction ability because they're not.
And yes,
they're not good at it. They're just not good at
it. Their roster construction of like lack of ability was the reason why they played so many minutes because they had to carry the load night in and night out.
Ooh, pride coming before the fall, homie.
Yeah.
Pride comes before the fall because I can see like when you talk about James, I can see LeBron being like, everybody's talking about what my game is and what I need. Well, damn them. I'm going to show them I could do this with the opposite. And we're all like, that doesn't make sense, LeBron. You really do need shooters. Like, you need them. They're very helpful.
Well,
like, nah, I don't want that.
Rob, how about this, right? So here, how about this? And this is where so with LeBron, it's coming things with LeBron, right? LeBron obviously is obviously uber confident in what he can do. He feels like, like you don't get to that level without having a high opinion of yourself. Okay. From that standpoint. Also,
as a basketball player, where do these guys get off having high opinions of themselves as basketball executives? Also, that's where you miss me.
But here's the point. This is
not you. I'm just talking about.
I know. But this is the most important part.
I'm like, wait, what?
This is the most important
part. Basketball player. That doesn't mean he knows how to put together a team.
No.
As a matter of fact, that means he doesn't know how to put together a team.
This is the most important part. We've gone as a sports society. We especially in 2022. You know as well as I do. We are a insanely narrative-driven.
There we are.
Society. So get to LeBron. Well, the narrative would be, well, if I bring in Russ, we know the Russell Westbrook shit. Stevie Wonder knew Russell Westbrook wasn't going to work with the Lakers. We know anybody with any.
It was such a mental exercise to try to even think about how this could work. It was a struggle. I'm like, wait, how could maybe if Westbrook it like comes off the bench during the times of LeBron, like you had to do so many mental gymnastics to make that situation. That's how you know it's a hard.
We knew that shit was. We didn't do a podcast, and we had a conversation about it when we were talking about the Nas album when Westbrook first signed it. It was like no one was knocking on that door for Westbrook. No one. So that's where the pride and that's where the ego, but that's also the narrative point. Mm-hmm. If I can win with Westbrook, then that pushes my GOAT conversation to another level because no one else won with Westbrook. KD couldn't do it with Westbrook. I won with Westbrook. So that's wrong. Yes. Yes. And as far as the roster construction, yeah, you would like not only do you need shooters, LeBron needs two things. And this is what he had in Cleveland those years they were going to the finals. He had shooters and he had defenders. The reason why you have shooters, obviously, so he can get to the lane, but you have excellent defensive players, so he doesn't have to expand that energy during the regular season. He can actually save it for the playoffs.
Here's the big thing about that, Cyril. It's not rocket. It's not like
it's not hard. No, it's not. It's really not hard. No.
Since the beginning, what gave you guys the idea that you could reimagine basketball in the moment? Right? Just like, oh, everybody's done it this way. I think me and my friends can do it a completely different way.
Yeah.
Like a completely different way. Like not just like, oh, a tweak here and there, because to your point, it's like, all right, if we're going to do the thing where we sign Durant and Kyrie, cool. We know we got offense handled, right?
Right.
The next thing we need, to your point, honestly, before shooting is defense. Because Kevin Durant is a limited defender, and you actually don't want to spend a tremendous amount of energy on defense anyway. Kyrie, we know Kyrie. That's not even a question.
Right.
So you need defensive help, and then you start looking at the modern day, everything like that. And so again, to somebody who just has half a basketball brain, like this doesn't have to be, again, rocket science, basketball, the highest IQ, half a basketball brain can tell you the way that they were constructing that roster after they got there, because they had great pieces, and that was always the thing that made me so crazy about that James Harden trade. I'm like, oh, y'all being so short-sighted on this. Those players you gave away were good. You had good players that you just let out the door. Anyways, so, I mean, just like the absolute hubris of this, of being like, yeah, I'm the greatest basketball player in the world. Fine. But that damn sure doesn't make you the greatest general manager, roster construction player of all time. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So let's get to the Jokic critics. So Jokic is going to lose in 5 games more than likely. And I hate this argument every single year when when the MVP goes down early in the playoffs. Well, was he the MVP if he couldn't get his team past the first round? And I don't know what the MVP is. Like, I watched a lot of basketball this year, as I do every year, but in particular this year, because I was fascinated by the direction the league is going in. There were 3 legitimate MVP candidates. You had Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. It was a 3-man race. Like, Luka gets some votes, Booker gets some votes, maybe Morant, but there are 3 guys that were heads and shoulders above everybody, night in, night out. Okay. Jokic is on a team without his second and third best player, and they finished in the 6th spot and made the playoffs. They're going to lose, rightfully so, to a much, much better team in Golden State, but he's still putting up insane numbers, and he's still like I just don't get, like, he's going to win his 2nd straight MVP, and rightfully so. But I just don't get how you can watch this dude play basketball and say he's not one of the 5 best players in the league, and he's not, like, and just take shots at him, like, looking at his body of work per se, right? Over the past couple of years, the playoff numbers are great, and prior to this year, his teams have won at least one playoff round. When he's been healthy, when his guys have been relatively healthy, they made it to the conference finals 2 years ago when Murray was healthy. Last year, Murray got hurt at the end of the regular season when a lot of people thought coming in to the playoffs that they had a legit chance at the title last year when they made the Aaron Gordon trade and Murray was playing out of his mind. The Murray injury basically set them back 2 seasons. He didn't play in the playoffs this year, and he didn't play in the playoffs. I mean, last year he didn't play in the playoffs this year. So I'm like, if any team loses their second and third best player, chances are they're not going to be very good. Like that, that's just a thought. But I don't know how closely you followed the MVP race, but do you get the Jokic critics?
I have opinions on this. Here's the thing. Well, as a talking point, this is fine. It's a fine narrative, and it's cool. Here's my thing. I mean, Jokic is talented. He's great. Jokic is not at the point in time in his career with what we're talking about with these other guys. So if we're just talking about who's a really good player in the NBA and who gets the for right now award, sure, give it to Jokic. But here's what I do know. Jokic equals Steve Nash to me. Meaning I do not consider Jokic's teams a threat at all. So he can put up all the numbers he wants. And he should get the awards that coincide with those numbers. And that can be fine. And if people want to argue that can be fine as well. But in terms of the real meaningful, impactful things, he still has a tremendous way to go. His teams aren't threats. Nobody's scared of Denver Nuggets at all.
No, and by the way, nobody should be.
But he's very good.
Two of the 3 best players. Like nobody's.
Yeah. Nobody's scared. When they had the 2 of their best 3 players, nobody's scared of them. I do not consider Nuggets a threat. They're
I disagree with that. No, I disagree.
Okay, all right. I've never seen them be preseason favorite of any.
Well, no, I mean, no, they're not gonna be preseason if they don't have
at all since Jokic has been there. Real? What?
No. My point. This is my point. I'm saying people are like bashing him.
I get
like a fraud.
I get exactly what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying because Jokic exists in a league that has Durant and LeBron James. The same thing when everybody existed in the league that had Jordans. The same thing when everybody existed in the league when Kobe. It's the same thing. Those players, we look at those players and we go, they matter. Their teams matter when they're on them for the majority of the part. I look at Jokic, I look at Nash, and I go, wow, amazing things happen around them, but how scary were their teams. Nash is of course at a different level than what I'm saying with Jokic right now, but that even underscores my point. I'm fine with him winning the MVP. I have no problem with that, especially this year when nobody really jumped off the charts at you. But in terms of if he didn't get the MVP, am I any type of upset or anything like that? No, because I look at Jokic and I go, he's a fantastic player, but as presently constructed with everything around him, Jokic-led teams are not the biggest threat in the world. Same thing with Luka, to be honest with you. Fantastic players. Their teams, and how they lead them, not there yet. But they're not at that point in time in their career.
Right. Yep.
So I think right now you're absolutely right. We should appreciate Jokic's game, and he is the most talented big man in the game.
Yeah. So Draymond Green had a couple comments.
Draymond.
As usual.
I'm really starting to like Draymond, by the way. I'm just saying I'm starting because I've been listening to the podcast every day. I'm starting to dig him.
Listen, he has a gift of gab. He definitely has a gift of gab. Dig him.
I'm starting to dig him. Keep going.
So Draymond rips Bill Simmons earlier this week. So to give context on it, Bill Simmons
has a lot of mouth these days. He really does.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yep. He has a lot of mouth.
He does.
He has a lot of mouth.
Bill Simmons was talking about the Rookie of the Year and the All NBA, the All Rookie team. So Bill Simmons didn't basically say that. He said this. He said, fuck Jalen Green.
Yep.
I'm going with Herb Jones because he's on a team that is going to make the playoffs, and I believe in winning basketball, and so on and so on. Blah blah blah. Jalen Green, you would not build your team. You would not take, if you were building for the next 5 years, you're not taking Herbert Jones over Jalen Green, like period. If you know anything about basketball, but that part is neither here nor there from that standpoint. The part that Draymond Green had a problem with Simmons knocking Jalen Green, and he said, because Simmons, and by the way, Simmons has MVP votes. He's a media member. He has votes. He has, he votes for all rookie. He has a vote for all those awards. So basically, Draymond Green said, look, these guys who haven't played basketball, media members, should not have votes that impact our pocketbooks per se.
This has been a traditional argument for all the years. Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. I actually agree with the premise of what he was saying in terms of, like, there shouldn't be having a vote to tie it into what somebody could possibly make. That's a lot of power. That is a lot of power for a media member. Here's the problem with, and then Draymond said, yeah, these guys don't know the game. You might have a media member that just hates me or hates another player, and they don't watch the games. They don't watch all the games. There's stuff about the intricacies that they can't understand. Here's the problem. First, a couple things about his whole logic and argument. Number one, the media has nothing to do with for that of that being the case. That's your collective bargaining. That's your owners. That's your CBA. That's your player association. They agreed to that per se. So that has nothing to do with the media. The media didn't make that decision. Number one. The second part is, I looked up the last time these awards used to get voted on way back in the day by the actual players. The MVP award in particular. Last time it stopped in 79-80 was the last season that the players voted for the MVP. In 75-76, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won MVP. Kareem, all-time great, one of the 2, 3, 4 greatest players ever. Had a great year that year. The problem was his team was 40-42, and they didn't make the playoffs. And what I would ask Draymond is, so do you think a guy whose team did not make the playoffs should have won MVP? Because your players voted that yes. MVP. The players.
Yeah, he would say yes.
Of course, he probably would yes.
And yes. the reason being is it just is as classic an argument as you get in the NBA or any professional sports, honestly. We did a lot, I did journalism as a mate. We did a lot of these talking points, these thought experiments with this. So from that simple example is this: players value something else versus what different people in the public are valuing. Yeah. And it's just that simple. And they're 100% right in terms of, like, I think about this all the time. Everybody thinks they know how to teach, and they don't.
They don't. No.
But everybody thinks it and can give you every comment on it, and I hate it every single time because they don't know what they're talking about. But they think they do know what they're talking about.
Right.
Same with us, run our mouths about things. We don't know what the hell we're talking about inside those locker rooms and all the intricacies that go in the game.
Yeah.
But we value this thing, and the players might not value this thing. To your point, Ril, it vacillates both ways. If you give it all to the players, they will be given awards for who sets great picks. Nobody cares about that as the public watching the game, right? But It's valuable to them, of course. So it's just like you just have two different perspectives on this. My big takeaway on this one is Draymond made the mistake of putting all media members when he wanted to just attack Bill Simmons. Yep. You can't stand him. He can't stand y'all. Y'all beef. Don't bring everybody else into this. This is y'all thing right now. And so he clouded up his argument and actually made it not good.
Well, he also, because I left a couple of things out too. He also tried to compare
Yes.
He tried to compare basketball to football. He says,
He was all over the place.
I love football.
Like, yo, just
like Draymond, don't compare Draymond. Basketball is not complicated. Football is complicated. Like, they don't like.
I mean,
watch,
yeah, yep.
Like, you can't sit up here and say, I watch a. He basically was saying that the media members don't know watching basketball, don't know what they're seeing. And try to say, I watch a lot of football. That doesn't mean I know what I'm seeing in football. You're actually right. You don't know what you're seeing in football versus.
And the media members don't know what they're seeing in basketball, Real. We cannot give
to the extent of
neither know what's going on.
But basketball is not that complicated. It's not.
But fine, but still, it's way more interesting. Same thing. People would say that about teaching, Real. That's what I'm saying. It's if you are a lay person, sure, it's not that complicated to you because you don't have to do anything with that. But to them, that to all of us who work in a specific profession and work hard at our craft, we know the intricacies of it. That's what he's talking about, the intricacies of it.
No, I understand that point. Here's where I agree with him. I don't think the media should have, I don't think that should be I don't think the media award should be tied into the incentives as far as the determining the money. I actually agree with that, but that's not the media's, that's not the media's doing. That is your own, that's the NBA's doing.
Yeah.
So that standpoint I agree with, but he was complaining a lot of different points that he was missing.
Yeah, he was complaining.
He was all over the place. He literally was all over. Like, to your point,
just be like F Bill Simmons.
Yeah, yes. That's it.
You don't like him.
That's it. Just say, look, man.
Trying to make an argument. Yeah. He was all over the place. He really was.
But with all that being said, he will be a great NBA media personality. He has the personality. He knows the game. So Draymond. He's already doing this thing from that standpoint. So I like to your point. I like listening to Draymond, but I had to call him out on this one.
I've not always enjoyed him, so this is actually a really interesting development for me.
He's gotten better. No, he's gotten better. You can tell.
I'm just saying, like one thing I will say out of the modern day, I do enjoy these players having their own platforms and talking about things in a different way.
Yes.
Like, I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Listening to Ryan Russillo break down basketball makes me sick to my stomach. Right? Like, it's just like, nah, I don't want to do this. So actually listening to people who play the game to take their point, who play the game all the time and to talk about like why that play worked and did not work and what is going on with that. And then even the behind the scenes stuff, I'm enjoying that aspect of it. And then, like you said, Draymond Green, he just can talk. You just can.
All right. Question for Sap in the deep dive: will Kevin Durant or LeBron James, and I should have put and LeBron James or LeBron James win another championship?
So I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say no on LeBron. I'm gonna say yes on Kevin Durant. But here's why I'm gonna say yes.
Wow. Oh, this is interesting.
Because I 100% expect that Kevin Durant will join another squad after this run. This 5 years, if he makes it through this 5 years, without like trying to figure out a way to get out so he can join a squad, but definitely in his latter years, he's gonna be championship hunt. I guarantee that. So I'm gonna say that for that reason, that's why I say yes on Durant. But with their presently constructed teams, I mean, you could make the same argument for LeBron. I just don't know how much time he has left to do that. But with their presently constructed teams, no way either one of them wins the championship. Like on a franchises they are now.
I'm gonna say hell no to both. Here, the league is too deep right now. The league is too deep.
Ooh, there's a lot of young boys. There's a lot of them.
So
they're good. They're really good.
They're good, and the problem is a lot of them are on actually franchises that are actually competent. Memphis is a competent franchise. Golden State still has some time left. We talked about Milwaukee. We talked about Boston. I think LeBron and Kevin Durant will
I
continue.
actually think Golden State extended their window.
Yes. But good. They did that with some player development. When Steph got hurt, they actually drafted and developed their players.
I mean, I really want to like Golden State. Their fans make it impossible. I can't with them. Every time I want to enjoy them, they're talking about their light years ahead and blah, 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 blah.
Yep, you know. It's
going to be a pool party. And I'm done. I'm out of here. Nope, not for me, for the kids. I'm out. But in terms of just like respecting what a franchise does, it's kind of like how we had that conversation about the Chiefs, like how they just redid their defense mid-season, how they develop Poole, and then again, Steph being just, I think, the most unselfish superstar since Tim Duncan. Yep. Like him, that meant everything. Him coming off the bench, that's a championship move. Like that's the intangible stuff that wins championships. It really is.
How about this, Sap? How about this? Steph willing to come off the bench, Russell Westbrook not.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Oh no, I'm well aware. Westbrook has been definitive on that, and that's why Westbrook ended up with no rings. So his consequences, he's getting what he deserves. Yep. Like that's the thing with Westbrook. Westbrook faces the music. He does. Angrily faces the music, but he goes out there and he rams his head against that brick wall. We all say, don't do that, Westbrook, and he just keeps on doing it. And he gets bloody, but he gets the consequence. He doesn't punk out and try to run away. So he's going to get the consequence he deserves. Durant tries to escape. They try to escape the process. Anyways, but to the point for the question, the only way Durant gets I guess I should say it like that. The only way Durant gets another, I'm saying no LeBron James, definitely. The only way Durant gets another one is when he goes to a different franchise with multiple superstars.
I don't.
Durant's soft ass will come off the bench, but not because he wants to.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he would do that. I think it's pride. I don't think he would do that.
That's fine.
I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he'll do it. I really don't. I think he.
Here's my point.
Because I think it will go against the narrative. No. Here's the thing. He in theory, he could do that, and he would win a championship if he were willing to come off the bench. You know what people would say? Well, you're not the guy, and that would drive him crazy. That would drive you think he would be in his feelings after leaving Golden State. There's no way that
I hear you, Ril, but here's
narrative would drive him crazy.
Here's my pushback against that. If he had pride, if he had sports pride, he never would have joined Golden State in the first place. He doesn't have pride. He doesn't have that type of pride. He doesn't. He never would have done it.
No, but he also doesn't value championships like that either. Think about that. If he valued championships like that, he'd not leave Golden State. He wouldn't left.
I'm fine with that rationale, but don't give me the pride. Don't give me pride. He doesn't have that pride. So I'm fine with that rationale.
He has personal pride.
No, that's why I'm not talking about personal pride. I'm talking about sports championship pride.
No.
Like in terms of I had this team has to be my team and I have to be the guy on the team. I don't think he has that pride. I think he wanted that. He wants so many things. And then when he gets it, he discovers
he doesn't. He's a guy who's chasing his own tail. He thinks he really doesn't know what he wants, to be honest with you.
Right, exactly. So in this case right now,
but I don't see him go. I don't ever see him. I don't see him.
Just like you said, he rolls to the way. So in this present iteration of Kevin Durant, as it stands right now, we go to a different team. No, but we're talking about over the rest of his career.
Let's say if he's 30, 36, 37. No, I actually think he would retire.
How about this? I feel like making a bold statement on the show right now. I don't feel Kevin Durant does not play the 5 years out in Brooklyn. I'm calling it now. Yep, I'm calling now. That's my hot take. I said it. I put myself on the record. Yep. I said it.
This is year 3.
I said it. Yep.
Now I'm gonna look up his contract now.
Look it up.
He got left.
Look it up.
Yeah,
I thought he had 5. I thought he just signed for 5.
He just signed.
He signed for 5.
Hold on.
So maybe it's 4 more. Maybe this was the one and it's 4 more. But I thought he had 5 more.
Let me look it up now.
Regardless, I'm saying it.
Yeah, I know you're saying it. I
I
just want
said
to see his contract.
yeah, I know. Whatever. I'm saying it. Yeah, I said it, Durant. Yeah, good shit about what I'm talking about.
Here goes.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Say it while I'm going to the bank and cashing these millions. Like, yeah, you right. You right, Durant. Let me shut up.
He is eligible for free agency in the summer of 2026. So he'll be 38 at the yes. So 30s, yeah, 30. His last season, 25, 20, 25, 20, 25, 26, he'll be 37. He'll retire after that. He'll be done. He'll retire after that. So he has. So to your point, in terms of how many years he has left with Brooklyn on the contract, he has 4 years left in Brooklyn.
Yes, this is the one he has 4. Yeah,
he has 4 years left. So you're saying he doesn't finish those 4 years in Brooklyn?
I sure am saying that. Ain't no way.
So you're predicting he's gonna force a trade.
Yep. Who knows what things they'll pull? I have no clue what like the specific mechanism, but he will force his way out of Brooklyn. However that looks. What I'm saying is
I don't, I honestly, I honestly, so I'm not gonna take back. I don't think he will win a championship.
Yeah, I'm about to say, keep your energy. Don't get in on
I'm not gonna take that back. But I agree with you from the standpoint of him forcing his way out before his contract up. I definitely could see that. I don't disagree with that. But you know what? The basketball guys will not let him win another championship based on that.
Now that I feel good about.
How about that?
That I feel good about. I agree with you. Unless, like I said, he punks out, which he's totally capable of doing, and just goes and joins another team as a complete bus rider.
No. So with that being said, he's not going to that championship. He's not. Because if he forces his way out of Brooklyn, you have to give up basically half your team to get Kevin Durant. And that leads you, he's not gonna win it. He's not gonna win it. Like the team won't be good enough. The team and he is aging. He's getting older. Like, he's not winning that championship. I'm thinking about it more confident. He will never win that championship. Matter of fact, I'll even go further. He won't play in the finals ever again. How about that? He won't play in the finals ever again.
Now, okay. All right, now you're trying to outdo my hot take. Sure. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
All right, fine. All right, you on record. I just when you in the
finals. No, it's on wax.
I'm gonna remind you of this.
It's on wax. Yeah, please.
In the finals.
He will not play in the finals.
Wait, no. Who am I about to put him on? Kevin Durant will be playing in the finals with
who?
The Celtics. Will he join the Celtics?
No.
They just beat his ass. You know how he does. I'm not gonna do this.
He on the phone right now with Tatum, like, yo, that's what we could do.
I can see Durant in Milwaukee, nice, like no criticism ever. The next place he wants, that was also, remember it's real. We talked about like, why are they going to Brooklyn? Why are they going to New York? Why? Like both of these soft, no being able to take any type of criticism. Why are they going to New York?
No. How about no? Okay, from that standpoint, all right. Let's say he's strategic with that. He doesn't want to go. Forget because Boston would be the wrong place. That's immediate. Like no, that's too much. That's too much hot. That's too much. That's too much hot. That's too much smoke. Boston, LA. That's too much smoke. Chicago, New York. That's too much smoke. How about Memphis? How about the Grizzlies?
I like that.
How about they got a lot of pieces.
That's a good one.
That would be perfect.
I like that. Go to the ground. His excuse would be, I want to go to somewhere that plays defense. Go to the grindhouse.
I love those. Look. And listen. He can even
Kevin Durant's future.
He can even reingratiate. No, but I'm saying he can even get back in the good graces of Oklahoma City. He's like, yo, I love my time in Oklahoma City. I want to get back to my small town roots. And when I was in the NBA, I was like, it was innocence. He could sell that as well.
I like that idea of him going back to OKC.
John Moran's one of the best point guards in the league. He's a superstar on the rise. I can see it. I definitely could see it.
I like that one. that's fine.
Now, Memphis, probably you don't want to do that. Don't do it.
Memphis, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Memphis, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
But why not? Why not? Why not from Memphis standpoint? But Kevin, in terms of the Kevin Durant narrative, because I was wondering about this. What is his next move? I was thinking about this after the game, after the series. What is the next? The Brooklyn thing is done. That's done. Ben Simmons is not. Ben Simmons might not play basketball again. Kyrie, you know who Kyrie is. Whatever.
How about this? If you're counting on Ben Simmons to come and save your franchise, you are very lost. You are very lost.
Oh yeah. I heard some funny shit. Oh man, the Philly. So after the Brooklyn series, right? This shit was hilarious. The Philly media was killing the New York media for asking soft questions to Ben Simmons. That shit was hilarious. Hilarious. Like, we told you this guy was a fraud. We told you.
Yeah.
We told you.
They did.
They're like, I thought this was New York.
They did. They did. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
They was
they're not wrong.
They definitely not wrong.
That trade, everything, it just amuses me to no end. I am enjoying this very much.
Oh, I love it. I love it because I love it because everybody's getting what they fucking deserve.
Everybody's getting
what they deserve.
Right. Like, it's just like watching people bend over backwards to figure out Brooklyn's nonsense up until the point, like, now people are yelling at them. But before this, oh my God, tiptoeing around all these issues. And it's like, oh, New York, for real? Y'all not going to get him? Get him. Get him. But no, they're not. Everybody's real sensitive right now. Okay.
One last, I do have an NFL question for you in regards to the draft. So you have 8 teams that have multiple picks, first round picks. Because tomorrow, of course, will be the first round. And I love the format that way. I love when they did that switch to just doing the first round and having its own night, by the way. Which team is more likely to address their need at the receiver position? Kansas City or Green Bay?
Both is the answer.
You think both of them will? No, you think both of them will address that need?
Yeah. Both is the answer. Both of those are, Green Bay's a receiver factory anyway.
Do you trust Green Bay? Do you trust Green Bay to draft a receiver in the first round?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I
would say Kansas City.
Will? I don't necessarily know. Are you asking me, will they?
I'm asking you, will both of them address the receiver position in the first round? In the first round, yes.
Okay.
They both have have 2 first round picks.
I missed the first round part. I still think my answer is yes, though, because the trades were so high profile and they let them go in this year because this is a receiver rich draft. I think that's what allows them to make that move. Now, does it because the draft is receiver rich, does it necessarily mean they have to do it in the first round? No. Do I have confidence Green Bay can find a receiver in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round? Absolutely. Do I have faith that Andy Reid can find a receiver in the latter? Not as much, to be honest with you. I think if you gave me the over under, Kansas City will, Green Bay 50%. 100, I would say if 90%, I'm going to go 95%. Kansas City takes a receiver in the first round. Green Bay, I'll put it at 50-50. They have the proven track record of being able to draft receivers, honestly, at any point in the draft and develop them. They know what they're doing with receivers.
And this is going to be more of a statement. So if you're Baltimore,
I actually think Kansas City will regret trading Tyreek Hill.
You've said that. Yeah, you went on record to say that.
Because he's a singular talent. Javon Walker's not a singular talent. He's a very good receiver that has developed into a great receiver through hard work and coaching, everything like that.
You mean Devontae Adams?
Wait, what did I say? Yeah, Devontae. Sorry.
You said
Anyway,
Javon Walker. Javon Walker was good, but not.
Yeah, I'm thinking old school.
Old school Green Bay. Yeah,
Green Bay. I don't know why. I guess because they remind me of each other. All the Green Bay receivers remind me of each other, which means they have a great program. But yeah, Tyreek Hill. That you can't teach that. You can't coach that. There's nothing there. That is.
I think they'll be fine. I said that on the program. I think they'll
be fine. But fine is, even in their heyday, how many championships do they have? 1 out of 4, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be fine, and that means second round playoff exits. And I hope they're happy with that. I hope they're happy with it. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Don't worry about that. Yeah. No. We will see. Oh, we will see.
We're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see.
Oh yeah. We will see. We will see. Don't worry. I'm saying it. I'm saying it with the
one last one as far as the question. Should Baltimore move heaven and earth for Deebo Samuel?
I want Deebo Samuel.
Of course, but you're not getting them. So let's move on from that one.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you crush my dreams? Okay.
I mean, but I'm saying he makes perfect sense in Baltimore. He makes sense a lot.
He makes Baltimore perfect sense for us, but you're damn right. We can't give everybody all this money and then bring Deebo Samuel in. So no, they should not. Because we don't know how much Deebo wants to actually do all those different things.
Oh, you saying they should? You saying Baltimore shouldn't go after him?
No, okay. They should not. Because we don't know how much Deebo wants to do all those things that make him special. Right? It's kind of like a Cordell Stewart. It's like, oh, the Swiss Army knife thing is fantastic. But Cordell's like, nah, I just want to be a quarterback. All that other stuff is whatever. It's like, no, this is what's best for the team. This is what everything like that. Deebo Samuel is saying, and he's accurate on this. This we have to give him 100% accuracy on this.
Right.
Being a running back, being in that backfield sucks because it hurts my career.
Right.
It shortens the length of career. But it's the exact thing that makes him special, right?
Right.
And so let me amend my statement a little bit. If you are convinced that you can convince Samuel to do all the things he's doing for the 49ers in your system, absolutely, he'll be a fantastic. He would be an amazing addition to Baltimore. In lieu of that, no, because he's not a dominant receiver.
Without the running back stuff.
No, he's just not. As a receiver, he's fine.
Yes, but the running back makes him special. That's what makes him
special.
Yep. No, that's going to be very interesting because that it is a specific fit. And what like to your point, what is he willing to do? Like, what is he going to be like? Yeah. No, that's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. Or if
the Titans would be a great fit for him. As soon as I heard, I was like, "Damn, I want Deebo." We would. Oh,
yeah, cool. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, Deebo would. Yeah, Deebo is.
He'd be perfect. He'd be perfect.
Yeah, no,
because I'm just saying, because Deebo would not be perfect for the Chiefs, right? Because the team, like I just speak.
The offense would. No,
I know we want to be a physical. We want that. That's a part that we're missing. That we want.
No,
that's a part that fits so perfectly in with Baltimore's offense. That fits perfectly in what the thing. You know who should overpay for him should be the Patriots. They should move heaven and earth to pay for him.
Yes.
That's the team that should. They need to overpay for somebody like a Deebo Samuel.
Yep.
But they won't.
They won't. No, they won't.
But so then that's why I say like a Tennessee Titan team. I'm having a hard time thinking about the teams in the NFC, to be honest with you.
No, they're not gonna move him to an NFC team. They're just
which is why I'm having a hard time. So that's why I'm naming. I just want to call out why I'm naming all the AFC.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, that's not happening.
Because I really can't. I can't think of a for real viable option.
One last one for the NBA. How many teams right now, based on the games you've watched, how many teams you think can win the championship?
4.
So Milwaukee, Boston, Golden State, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like you said, Phoenix is. Ooh.
Yeah.
They is a.
So
They
you're
are
not
right now.
you're not a believer in Miami.
No, no.
Not
I've never been a believer in Miami. I've never been a Miami supporter. Like I get the ride, like yada yada yada, Riley.
culture, not the heat. You ain't believe in the heat culture,
everything
where
like that.
coaches is about to
Yeah, I
fight
remember y'all
players.
winning championships when LeBron came and doing like yeah. Sure. Sure. Can they be competitive? Absolutely. Do I? Yeah, sure. All that. We talk about who's winning the championship now. Let's stop playing games. We talk about the real teams, and there's 4.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's good to see Golden State this back in the mix. It is.
Where's the monster?
Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah,
They in this new lineup they got these 3 guards. That depth lineup is
and like I said, and it's like to your point, everything we talk about, what Kevin Durant isn't, he is. What Kyrie isn't, he is.
Yep.
Because it's like he's a beast, he's a monster on the field, and he's a monster in that locker room.
Yep.
He's a monster for that franchise. Like he's like we had the thing that everybody's talking about the physicality, him, LeBron, like all the things. Like we have to recognize Curry is a franchise everything.
Yes.
He is.
Yeah, no.
And so
he's a winner. I mean, that's all you can say. He's a winning. He's a winning player. Yeah, he's a winner. And not just so much about the championships, but just the mentality. He's a winner. He's a winning player. Like Derek Jeter, Kobe, whatever. He's a win. He's like is more than just like actually, winning championships is great, but just the mentality, just that winning, willing to do whatever it takes.
Also, the things don't separate. That's the thing that I've been getting when you talk about narrative driven. That's the thing that's been irritating me so much about these narratives. These things aren't in isolation. You have to be a good teammate to win a championship. Now, are there circumstances in history where teammates have hated each other and they've been able to win a championship? Absolutely. But on average, you want good chemistry. Yeah. Like that,
helps. It helps.
It makes it easier. And so it's like Steph is everything you want in a superstar player. Everything. There's literally nothing that you can complain about with him. And so I say that to say that makes that team a championship contender because they have players like him on there that can keep guys focused and engaged throughout the entirety of the whole game. Chad said something to me when Chad told me his quote LeBron had about the Spurs when the Spurs was whooping their ass in that finals game, and it's always stuck with me. He says LeBron in an interview said, and it wasn't what he said, it's how he said it. He was like, they play all the minutes, like all of them. They play all the minutes. And he was like stunned in that aspect. It's just like superstars like Curry care all the time, like all the time, about all their teammates.
Yeah.
And the team success. They do.
Giannis is like that.
Unfathomable for a person like Durant, like Kyrie, like James, right? Yep. And that's why they're not the guys. That's honestly why they're not bus drivers and why I support Barkley's. It's not a great analogy, let's be honest. But why I support his point in that those guys should just be few. We have lumped way too many people in this fucking great player conversation.
Yeah.
That's why the MVP should be way different than great player. The MVP doesn't matter to me because of the regular season award. Sure. Right. Yep. Whoever's the best in regular season, they're the MVP. Boom. Easy. But that doesn't mean their team is going to win a championship. Let's not conflate those things at all. Can it happen? Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's about when you talk about getting that.
So what I'm saying, who's
best a franchise, player
on the floor doesn't mean championship player. Exactly.
How do you impact the game? Yes. How do you impact the game?
There you go.
Period. How do you what does is your presence constantly felt on the game when you're on the court? So it's like, yeah, that's why I don't toss around the word superstar and like they're not that many. They're really not. This is not. Like they're not. And that's why I hate these numbers and all that. No. I look at impact. Look at how are you impacting the game, and
Sense to me.
it's very simple. It's not a hard concept to grasp from that standpoint. But we got these analytics, numbers, and stats. This has kind of like somewhat clouded what actual winning and what impactful basketball looks like. Like, no.
For bad teams, and that's why we focus way too much, to your point, with the narrative driven. We focus way too much on the bad teams during this regular season. The teams that are actually good, the ones we talked about winning, could potentially win championships, they've actually been doing the things the right way the entire time.
Yep. Yeah.
But we're just focused on the hot ass messes.
Yeah. No, like you mean like Brooklyn and Lakers?
Yes. That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Damn. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the game has changed from a standpoint. I was thinking about this today. Like when I was growing up, well, I shouldn't say when I was growing up per se, like in the
no, we old, real. We old. We there. We old man like this. Now I'm just owning it. Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just old man on the porch on this. I'm out. I'm out on this. I'm out on this new age. I'm out. I'm just out. I need people to show up for work. Sorry, call me old fashioned.
Yeah, no, and without question.
I'm not part of a generation that stays home because my feelings are hurt. I'm just not part of it. I'm not with it. I'm never going to be with it. And so get off my.
I was
go on somebody else's line with that bullshit.
I was thinking about with the
work
like the regular season actually matters. Like it matters. Like
sure.
Because no, I'm just saying though, the regular season had been through, and some of this is LeBron, some of this is Greg Popovich with the whole load management. Some of this is obviously the money and what have you, but somewhere over the last decade we had devalued the regular season, and it's like, no, you like the habits you build. You are not coming into the playoffs not playing well. Like if you're playing like shit coming into the playoffs, chances are you're not going anywhere. I think of two exceptions. In my lifetime, you had like the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. They would bicker and fight during the regular season. Then those two of those three championship years, they just completely turn it on. Shaq and Kobe are two of the top probably 10 to 12 greatest players of all time. And they had a system with Phil Jackson. There was a foundation with that franchise. So, and they were the one of the exceptions. LeBron, with what he did in those Cleveland years, especially the last 4 years, I'm talking about, when he played with Kyrie, they would just go through the motions in the regular season. And even a couple times, even a couple of years with Miami, they would go through the motions in the regular season. But here's the bottom line on that: they were just that much better than everybody else in the conference, and it was LeBron James. So, and then they would say turn on the playoffs. The league wasn't as deep. Those days are done. It's over. You're not going to see a team coast. And again, no, the last one we had was the Golden State, right? But they had 4 Hall of Famers. That last year when they won a championship in 18, they coasted through the regular season, won like 53 games, and ended up beating a team. Well, Houston had won like 68 games, 67 games, or whatever, or 65, whatever. They were clearly the best team. One of the great. I mean, that's literally one of the most.
No. We're not like.
That's
why when we're having these conversations about championships meaning different things and all that stuff. Golden State, Durant, cheat code, done. Nope, I don't count those. I'm sorry, I don't. Right. I don't want to hear about
every championship. Every championship does not mean the same. No, every championship does not mean the same. Like Dirk Nowitzki's championship 2011 means more than Kevin Durant's 2 and with Golden State. It just does. Period.
So my point being, like with that, what it's just more it's actually emboldening like what you're saying. Because I think that Golden State with Durant was a very important part of that. Of the we're like we could coast through the regular season.
Right.
Because the thing that endeared the Warriors to so many people was how hard they played, especially that year they did the 73 wins.
Yep, they play every night.
And that was when even Kerr came out and was like, well, maybe going for 73, tired of that. Then they got Durant, then they didn't give a shit about the regular season at all.
Yep. And then we got
that's when I was like, I'm off.
Yeah, and then we got into then it got worse because in 2019 you had Kawhi winning with Toronto when he was load management. So it's like, oh shit,
we completely went the other way.
Yeah,
wow, the owners need to put stop to all.
But no, I feel great about the direction we're going in because I think, like to your point we talked about earlier, the owners are going to put a stop to this shit, and their teams are not. If you want to compete and win championships, you're not going to be able to cut corners. You're not going to skip steps. The regular season is going to actually have to matter. You're going to have to actually. Your top players are going to have to actually play, develop chemistry to build up depth, to fight through adversity and those things like that. So I am confident about the direction that we are headed towards. And I don't like I said, I don't think you're gonna you're gonna see you're not gonna see anybody. If you're gonna see somebody try to cheat the process, they're just gonna fall on their ass and look crazy. Like this is gonna.
I think that was the Nets. We bottom out. So here's my other hot take. I'm calling it into the player empowerment era. It's over. It's done. It's done. I think the bottom out was the Nets. By over, I mean the Nets collective bargaining agreement. All this shit is shut down.
Yeah.
No management, players that all move freedom. All of it shut down. And you're absolutely right. There will be a lockout. They're going to go to war.
Yeah.
Because this just doesn't make sense financially. And that's ultimately what this is all about. It just doesn't make sense financially, and the owners will not appreciate that. And the players have gotten so used and comfortable to this. But again,
I don't know. I know you saw this. I know you saw this a couple of weeks ago, but here's where the gauntlet was dropped. Adam Silver, who has been the players.
Sure.
He's been singing for the players and dancing for the players, but since he's been in there, came out and said our star players need to play more. So that was the owners giving his ass. He was like, "Yo, Adam, get this shit together." That was the gauntlet being dropped. Adam Silver comes out. This is not David Stern. This shit would have never happened. David Stern is rolling over his grave. Literally might be rolling over his grave, right? This shit would not happen with David Stern.
We just went too far the other way. I get it. No, we don't want to go back there, but we went way too far.
No, I don't want to go to the David Stern days, but we did go too far the other way.
We went all the way over.
It's kind of like life is. No middle ground. There's no middle ground, unfortunately.
We gotta roll this back a
little. But when Adam Silver came out and said, you know what, our stars need to play more, that was the owners being like, yo, Adam, get this shit together. Period. That was the gauntlet. That was like the first salvo of a war that's coming. So that lets you know all you need to know when you heard that. Because you never heard Silver talking like that ever. He's been Mr. Player, like all these cutting back to backs, and he is like rarely criticizing players. No, but that right there,
here's the simple thing about humanity: we're all experiencing it in all our daily lives and all our jobs. Here's the simple thing: the more you give, the more we want. So if you give me 2 days off, I'm going to want third.
Yep.
If you give me 4 days off, I'm going to want a 5th day off, because we do not like to remember what came before, right? Like it plays out any new person or organization, right? Like you've been I know personally you've been at your job for a really long time, and in the same place for a really long time. I'm not going to name the place, and so my point being, when a new person comes in and gets something that you as you know, you and different people fought for, argued about, complained about, and it happens after a few years, and that person that comes in just that year gets that privilege that was denied for you and starts complaining about it. How do you feel about that?
Oh no,
exactly.
No,
exactly. And so that's the thing. It's just like, yo, I hope everybody is seeing this very clearly. You give everybody what they want, all the things they want. As much time off, no back-to-backs, da-da-da-da. You get to pick the head coach, you get to do everything like that. people still want more.
Yeah, and that's why I was laughing at people who were mentioning, we were talking about the games played thing. Well, you need to cut the season in so and so games. If you cut the season to like 70 games, these motherfuckers will only play like 50. Like what? What are you talking about? That's not going to stop. That's not going to encourage them to play more. If you cut the season, they're gonna play. You playing like 40 and 50 games.
Here's what I mean. Length of season, I think, is more about fan attention span to me than anything else. But as long as there's still money in an 82 game season, and you can't find a way to replace that money, it don't matter what the damn players is doing. Ain't nobody giving that money back.
No.
Why are we even talking about this?
No.
It's not benefiting the players. It's not benefiting the owners' pockets. Why are we even talking about this?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not even a conversation.
But I do think baseball and basketball, but way more baseball. The length of their seasons are a problem from the fan perspective, attention span perspective.
Yeah.
The players, that's the job. I'm so over this. Like, what? Like, no, that's the job. We pay you to play games. Like, what are we talking about? What else are we paying them for? What else is this thing about? Like, what? No. Pay people to rehab for a year. I can't. I'm done with all this. Yeah. No, the season does not need to be shortened. Moving on. Next.
No.
So no. Hard pass. Let's go.
Yeah, no. But so looking forward to the rest of the playoffs. Again, second round, first round, we'll get these pretenders out the way. We have some great second round matchups. We didn't get to talk about them, but I'm definitely been entertained by this Memphis Minnesota series. I've loved every moment. I just love it's been some of the dumbest basketball you'll ever see, but some of the most entertaining as well.
Well, I mean, like I heard the dumb basketball comment on there, and
but they're young. They're young.
So it's not. That's what I'm saying. I feel like again, like it's not fair to be like, oh, we want X, we want it to happen this way.
No, I'm not criticizing.
I know. I know you're not doing this. I'm just saying I heard the dumb comment this morning on TV.
Right.
And it's like, but they're so this is part of the process.
Yes, part of the process. Yeah, part of the process. No, absolutely.
Part of the process. They're both, I mean, especially Minnesota. Come on now. Of course they're gonna make boneheaded, dumb plays in there.
Yeah.
They're babies.
Yeah.
They're babies at this. So all of this is a learning experience for them. The only thing that gives me pause on that, since you brought it up, is I really would have liked them to learn that lesson because they already gave up a big lead earlier in the series. I really, really would have liked them to learn that lesson. But you know, I guess it's just gonna be reviewing the table of the off season.
Yeah, they gotta take them lumps.
How to close out game.
Yeah, they gotta take them lumps.
But the thing that everything else, I mean, like
the thing that you get out of that series is neither one of them has a chance against Golden State. Like that's just not like they're just too young. And I know some people think that Memphis could threaten Golden State. Nah, it's not gonna happen. There's levels to this.
Nobody's saying these things. You're making these comments.
No, I'm not. No, there are people out there who actually think that Memphis could threaten. No, that could threaten.
Honestly, that reminds me of like Bulls, Seattle. When even as a kid,
right, you didn't believe it.
Well, when people were like some kind like we're being on ESPN, we're like, you know, Seattle might have it. I'm like, come on, even I don't believe this.
No,
even I don't believe. So yeah, some people may be saying it, but they don't believe that. Nobody on this planet believes that.
No,
nobody.
But
outside, I don't even think Memphis Grizzlies fans believe it, to be honest with you. But they'll say it.
Not if you're getting the truth serum. They'll say it. No. Yeah. So you've had that series has been fun to watch. Utah is done as a franchise as far as this iteration of it.
We knew it was done last year.
They're gonna break. Yeah, they were done last year. When they blew that league as the Clippers, in essence, they were done. When they blew that.
They had the best record in.
Yeah,
NBA
that last year was their year. No,
the talent has always been with the talent. The makeup has always been what it is.
Last year was their
everything
year.
like that. It was just like
No,
that.
last year was their year.
Like,
had,
oh, if they can't do it this year, they ain't
right.
know.
Last year you had no Kawhi. Anthony Davis gets hurt. So
they ain't know
last year was their year to get to the finals. So that, to your point, that was it. They're gonna blow that thing up.
Now everybody can just go find over Mitchell, and then he can be another.
Yep. Wherever Mitchell lands, and Mitchell to me is a number 2. He's not number 1 on a championship team. He's a number 2. I think he'd be a perfect number 2 on a championship team. He's not number 1. So, and we've said this about Utah. Your second best player can't be a offensive, and even in the playoffs, a defensive liability. Like Rudy Gobert can't be your second best player, and you challenge for a championship. So that's done. We'll see what Luka can do against Phoenix. I don't expect. I expect him to be great, but they don't have enough. Even with a compromised Devin Booker, they don't have enough. So we're gonna be headed. The West is gonna be what I thought it was gonna be from the start of the season, from the beginning, from basically from the beginning of the season. You're gonna go. You're gonna be good. Golden State, Phoenix, Golden State, Phoenix, Western Conference Finals,
which is what good teams are supposed to do. Good all the time.
Yeah, they'll be. So the West will be what the West. Those are the two best teams, Phoenix and Golden State. That'll more likely be your Western Conference Finals. Injuries withstanding, and of course we already talked about what the East is looking like with the Boston, Milwaukee, and Miami's in good shape to get to the conference finals. So again, we are headed towards separating the contenders from the pretenders. Looking forward to it as always. Thank you, Mr. Sapp, for joining the program.
All right, sir.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. This podcast will be up probably early tomorrow morning. Available early tomorrow morning. Now, again, we did this podcast during the Milwaukee game. Milwaukee actually killed the Bulls. So Milwaukee is officially in the second round. And of course, you have Golden State trying to wrap up, trying to put away Denver. So we'll have, I will see you next time, because this podcast is sponsored by All Calculated Measures. Shout out to my man, Adrian McDonald, with his clothing wear. I will put that link up in my website and on the on my YouTube site, and as well as Instagram as well. Check out his clothing line, All Calculated Measures. I will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. So long.